greatness. Shadow, follow people. Andrew's going to talk about this. Personal growth. Now, this is for next level, but I don't mind sharing this with you because here's the deal. You want to be a smart business person, and all of you will be smart business people when we're done with you through college. I'll say it again. If you want to be a smart business person, and that's our goal, one of our many goals, to be a 5-star, to be a great business person, despite your major. That scared the hell out of me. I thought they were coming after me.
Hey, by the way, if there's ever music playing, I need this muted. If not,
Okay.
it will stop. Okay.
I just changed my state. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Personal growth.
Drink water.
What's that?
Drink water.
Ah. No, but okay. I don't know what I thought that was. That was back in my gang days. Really, Joe? Start back. If you are a smart business person, and I want all of you to know that's one of our goals to be a 5-star recruiter, despite pre-med, pre-law, it doesn't matter. You're going to be a great business person for college with us. Not just with one meeting, not just one semester, but multiple cycles of TLA will create you being a better business person. And smart business people create circles of influence. So if I'm a first year and I want to get ahead, and Jeff's throwing out the next level curriculum, fill in the blank. What do I do to get ahead sometimes? Hang out with the next level. Follow some of the things they're doing. So for example, I give books to our next level group that they read. They do book review. We don't do book review for first years as intensely. But if I'm a smart business person, if I want to get ahead, it's like the soccer player playing a team up. Like, you know, I can play on the U18. I'm 18, but can you put me on the under 21 team? Yeah, I want to play with under 21. Can you sneak me in? Well, you're not really supposed to be here. Okay, but can I just practice with them? Just let me practice a couple times. That's the same concept. So here are some great books that I have always recommended for our next level. In fact, next level, the middle one's going to be the first assignment again. For some of you, the 5th or 6th time, but I expect you to get a 5th or 6th take from the book. Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. How to Be CEO helps you create mystique and separation as a leader. And then 4 agreements. How many of you are from the Alliance remember 4 agreements? You guys know that? Be impeccable with your word. Do your best. For finances, one of my favorites, basic favorites, is The Richest Man in Babylon. The 1 Minute Manager is also a required next level reading for our returning TLA. How to Manage People. What's great is these are all very easy reads. And the only one that's a little bit of a longer read is Leadership Basics from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, referenced by Mike yesterday. Be aware of your money. Be aware of your finances. We're going to teach you how to track your money. We're going to teach you how to create a budget. Go figure. You know what you're going to be able to say in college or high school for the first time? No, because I can't afford that. Versus, I don't know, swipe the card and see what happens. Did Dad hook it up this week? Or did he forget? Or do I have enough? I don't remember. Okay, look. Yeah, we're going out. You know how I know that? That's what I used to do. That's what I used to do. Raise your hand if you used to do that or still do. It's like, okay, did that? Cool. I don't know about you, but when I have kids, I don't want to say, okay, tuition. Okay, you're going to school. That's not how I want to raise my family. How about planning, making sure you learn and teach steps from Mike, and Mike will continue to elevate that. Fitness, we're going to talk about fitness in TLA. Who's excited about energy management, fitness, macronutrients? We'll give you some workout plans too, by the way. And I want to say this, with planning, with journaling, with fitness, with everything we do, we're just giving you a template. We're not saying that we're the best way. We're just giving you our way. And you take with it. You take it rather, and you run. Talk about fashion. I'm really excited about this. Also, I'm just begging to get this done with some of you. Every year is something. You know, when in the 90s, when I was a college student and running divisions, it was those black square-toed leather shoes that all the guys would wear with their jeans and their suits enter the bar. That has been replaced this generation with drivers. Gentlemen, drivers are not to be worn with suits. Just I see suits at conferences, and I see guys with full suits and drivers or jacked up shoes. Or ladies, appropriate length of skirts, if you will, for business or clothing. You know, classy. I'm excited to cover this and teach you how you can look like $1 million but spend 100. That's one of my favorite lessons. Look like $1 million, spend 100 on a college budget. Anyone excited for that one?
Yeah. Yes.
How to tie a tie for some of you. It's fun. I learned how to tie a tie well from my dad. I learned how to tie a tie and match in certain ways to different outfits from going on these shopping episodes with my then region manager, Martin Bay. He would say, hey, Jeff, let's go. We'd go to this boutique, high-end place, and you know, they serve you an expensive glass of scotch while you shop kind of place. I'm just walking around, that is cool. That suit is like a car. Holy shit, right? What a cool experience I got a chance to. And then we'd hop into his fancy car. Wow, this is really cool experience. TNT, today, not tomorrow. Don't put off. Don't put off. Today, not tomorrow. Don't put off. Think about all the things that you can put off. It's really easy to leave the Cutco conference today after the luncheon. Put things off. Don't put things off. I'm going to go off for a second. Hey, Jordan. I just want to tell you, I am not excited. Every possible ounce of enthusiasm you can find in my soul right now has been pulled out in the last 24 hours because of this class. This is the biggest class we've had. This is the sharpest, no pun intended, sharpest class we've ever had. This is one of the most enthusiastic classes we've ever had. This is the highest average sales going into TLA we've ever had. We've never had a $10,000 cutoff. We had that this year, and I think it could have been higher, by the way, districts. We could have justified 11 or 12 and still had the best branch TLA class in the region. So whether you realize it or not, you are in the right place at the right time. You're at that one company that was started in a garage by that one guy when no one really saw it coming, and then Google happened. That's where you're, Microsoft. Or you fill in the blank of that story. Because all those places were started in basements. That's where you are right now, except we're not in a basement. We're actually in a nice, really nice mansion right now. The mansion's about to be a mansion of 10 yachts. Vector skills are really important too. These are the 5 mainframe skills you'll learn, because all of these topics have intertwined with how to run a Cutco office effectively. But really, here's what's cool. Any business you want to run, you have to be able to do this stuff. So the first one, touch generation. Next level group explains what is touch generation. How to what? And from a business standpoint, you're not Cutco only. Orlando, touch generation means?
How to get business in.
How to get business in. How to get clients. How to get recruits. How many of you have aspirations to run a business in a career that's not Cutco, where you'd have to create clients and create recruits, create interest? You're gonna learn that here. Also, you're gonna learn how to create quality recruits. Next level, what does that mean? Quality recruits versus just recruits. What's that mean? Sean, what's that mean? The right people. If I'm a doctor and I have a specific specialty, in the case I wanted sports medicine or pediatrics, how would I find the best pediatric community so I'll get the best business? Versus going to a place where the generation is older. You see? That's touch generation. PR program. You guys know this one. So how do you multiply your business? True story. So Paola Lindenman, she's one of our Cutco through college alumnus. And what a story. So she started with us as a rep. She was late acceptance TLA, believe it or not. She did not get in at the cOC. Late acceptance. So the rest is history. Puerto Rico sent one. She assistant manager, branch manager, district manager, pilot sales manager. She's done every single job. So she left last year, Cutco through college, 5-star recruit, got into the #1 chiropractic school in North America, Life University in Marietta, Georgia. Full ride. Oh, by the way, she also got into Johns Hopkins for med school. Full ride. No joke. So she chose chiropractic school. She wanted to run her own business. And the professor was running a seminar about how to create more clients. And the districts and branches, you'll appreciate this. So there's a little sheet when they fill it out, and they have the first exam, the first session. At the bottom it says, who would you like to recommend? Sound familiar? At the bottom. And they had 3 spaces. And Powell said, well, professor, you flip it over, why not just have a whole list in the back? He goes, huh? What do you mean? Well, what I did before in Cutco, I ran an office, a district office for a few years, and we had the same thing, except we put back, because if you put 3, they'll put 1 or 2. But if you put a whole side and you mention it, they might put 5, 6, or 7. And how much extra business percentage-wise does that bring to your company? The doctor said, "What did you do?" She explained it, and then what she did is she did a whole approach, the PR approach. She rehearsed it, came back, got an A by the way, and showed her, okay, well, if I showed the professor, if I were to run your company, this is how I would ask for recommendation. And she essentially took the day 3 PR talk, switched it, adding chiropractic jargon. She said, "The professor loves me, Jeff." I said, "Of course they do. It's TLA trained. That's United Trained." Training seminar, how to train people. Fast Start program, how to train people to start fast with our company. How to train people, how to develop and recruit patients to get on the healthy track faster. How to develop a client, if you're a lawyer, that's going to win the case faster. It's training. And the last but not least, demo generation or coaching. Learn how to coach people. We'll talk about that in a second. For those of you that are branched already, or are assisting, or districts especially, can you guys speak to this in regards to how you're finding these being applicable skills, what you've liked about learning, anything of the sort, just referencing. Look.
The rep job is, it's not too well, so be lazy and follow the program. And it's kind of when you branch similar, just like a bigger scale. But the same thing. Don't be lazy and follow the program. This is the program. We're going to teach you these things. You can learn these things. And your branch.
Yeah, I agree. Other takeaways, assistants, branches, districts, on just the skill sets, what you're learning, how it's applicable.
I was just gonna say all this stuff. I mean, like, if you want to run your own business, it's like run under semi-successful or failed business, or like these are the things you need to learn on the basis. Like, so many people across the world want to be like run their own show, but like they don't even have like the slightest basic most skill to do that. It doesn't matter. That's what I always tell people. It doesn't like people always ask me like, "Hey, what's your big idea?" Right, frankly, it doesn't matter because like everyone has ideas. Everyone in your group probably can like 10 business ideas, but it's about execution, not the ideas. And the reason most people don't execute is because they don't fit, then the people that do think don't even have the skills that can do it. So learning like everything that you see on these on the board, that these are fundamental business skills that most people never have.
Most people don't have. And you know what? To your point, everyone has ideas. A good friend and colleague of mine was in the mix with a new company at one point. This was about 10 years ago, maybe more. And the company was trying to help vendors save a lot of money. And he was in the mix, kind of helping to fund it. They were doing research and development, and they just ran out of money at the end. They weren't able to recruit the right funding. But what they were working on was, you have these kiosks or businesses that don't have a store. How do you get people's credit card? Well, they have this big machine. But they were working on this little thing you plug into a phone and you swipe. You've seen it? It's called Square. And a close friend and colleague of mine was 2 steps from being Square, but just didn't execute. So ideas are everywhere. Square wasn't the only one that came up with the Square idea. So your great ideas, whatever you want to do in your future, you've got to be able to develop that. That's Amar, by the way. Amar DeVay. Amar DeVay and John Ober, if you're asking. There's no perfect training. Okay? Training is crazy. It's miss. And you're going to mess up. I'm going to say this right now. Do not equate messing up and failures with I can't do TLA and I can't train. You have to have all the failures to train. We're on my meathead workout lifting weight guys here. Right, when you lift. No pain, no gain. Literally. You got that now? No, but literally. If there's no pain, no lactic acid released from the muscles after breaking down and tearing down the fibers of the muscle, there's no muscular gain. The muscularity stays the same. It's the scientific background behind that. You need this to be trained like this. The reason Andrew was so good is because Andrew was not good as an assistant and got better. The reason his first branch was okay because he learned from his assistant, came back, and his second branch was better. The reason Metro Miami is doing $700,000 in business, the way that you guys are projecting, which has never been done, the branch record was broken a long time ago, is because it's 4 years in the making. Pilot, $1 million summer. It wasn't like Luke said, hey, Jeff, in February, let's do it. You know when Luke said it? When did we decide we're going to go for $1 million? October? No, yeah, October. And from October, it was decision train time. And every week we had a call that wasn't scheduled. And every month we had a full day session that wasn't scheduled. And we put hours and hours and hours and hours into $1 million summer. And it's so funny. We have a little sketch from one of our meetings at the restaurant in Philadelphia of our numbers and our projections. And he said, okay, if we do it right, we're going to hit that big number. And we hit exactly those numbers. Crazy how it works when you plan it. So I think in closing, there's going to be a lot of work to do. And as it says here, you know, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. In fact, if it's easy, you know what? You know, we say in TLA, if it's easy, you don't want it. What is it? If it's easy,
we don't want it.
Who wants it easy? Weak people want it easy. Mediocre people want it easy. My family sometimes wants it easy. Some of my friends want it easy. But you know who doesn't want it easy? The people that are most successful. So you may know the story of John Lennon, not the Beatle. John Lennon is arguably the most successful real estate agent in the world with regards to high-end luxury condos. In fact, local to United, he sells on South Beach. If you're familiar, raise your hand if you're familiar with this area. Anyone know where this is? This is Sophie. You know what Sophie is? Sophie's south of 5th on South Beach. It's a 5-block radius, 5 blocks, and there are only 7 high-rise condos there, and they're uber luxury. The average condo to buy is between 7 and 20 million. This is the #1 selling building. It's called the Portofino. Okay. So John Lennon is a real estate agent who has sold almost $90 billion, or $9 billion rather, in real estate transactions. He makes a 3% cut. Over the few years, he sold that. And so they interviewed John Lennon, and they said, well, how does it work? How are you so much more successful? He said, well, everyone's got the same foot traffic. When I started this firm, everyone who walked in was a free client, meaning we could all sell the same people. So how is it that you sell 10 times more at the same condos? These other real estate agents sell the $10 million condos. So how are you selling that much more than everyone else? He says, easy. I don't sell condos. What do you mean? Well, my boss came in the other day when I was still new and I didn't have my own firm. He said, hey, what did you sell, John Lennon? He said, oh, I sold a $7 million closet. What'd you sell yesterday? Because, you know, the accounts were being sold 1 every 3 months. He was selling 31 in a month. Okay. People were selling 1 every 3 months. He was selling about 31 units a month. So what are you doing? Well, I sold a $7 million garage also this week. What? I sold a $4 million view. What are you talking about? It's just, the reason I'm different is because when clients walk in, I'm not selling them an apartment. Everyone else sells them a condo and apartment. I'm selling them the dream. I'm selling that lady who has a designer wardrobe worth millions, the $4 million closet, not the apartment. I sell that gentleman with extensive car collection, luxury car collection, who had a bad experience with one of his cars being put in a garage. And so I sold him a $7 million parking garage, not the penthouse suite. So the light bulb is, you don't make the apartment, you make it whatever it is to make the client happy. That's what TLA is for you. For some of you, you want to be a millionaire. So freaking bad. Hello? Hello? Is this thing on? Why all the things? Okay. Stop. Some of you, you want to be a successful business person. Some of you, you're working to fill in the blank. And that's what TLA can be for you. For Mike Abramowitz, it's charity and changing the youth. That's what Cutco has become for him. But it's the ninth Cutco district manager job. No, it's not. For me, it's become an avenue to teach and mentor the youth and impact young people and to raise a family with, in this case, 90 kids, it feels like. And just like a family, some of you drive me crazy, and Jeff still loves you. Some of you show up late to stuff, it drives me crazy, Jeff still loves you. Some of you mess up on your assignments, and I told you how to get it done, just still loves you. The goal is for you to become better as you go, so that when it's time for you to leave Cutco or possibly get recruited to be a district or CSP, you'll have the skills to go on your own, just like when your parents send you off to college. See, I have the greatest job in the world. I get that. I get you guys after your parents raised you. It's the easiest job in the world. I don't have to go through most of the crap, most of the toughness. So if you're here and have all these wonderful young people, we get the great byproduct. And by the way, I also know some of you come from not so great families. So we get the great byproduct of you being you despite that. Easiest job in the world. So what does this opportunity mean for you? Think about that. Any light bulbs? Okay. So before we go into technical, go through your notes. What stands out? Let's do a quick debrief. Actually, no, we're going to change state. I'm going to find a partner. Ready? We're going to find a partner. Look at the And everyone at that event, possibly 90% will earn a spot to run their own Cutco office. Okay? Then for everyone, the 27th is awards night, and this is the Academy Awards of Vector Marketing. This is where you get the chance to see Metro Miami. Make sure you come, bring your parents, because you're going to hoist up the silver cup and get awarded the #1 branch office in the entire country and all this record. Pilot, we will have our chance to be recognized for $1 million summer, $1 million year. You'll see Rolexes distributed for all the champions. All those swords you see in the office, the championship sword trophies. You'll see those. See Mike, every one of our United managers will be racking up on awards.
Get a Rolex.
Get a Rolex, that's right. Plus, here's what's really important. If you have parents that are not as supportive, I understand that. They haven't seen it yet. Get them to the event. They always understand after. They always are more supportive. Who's come to one of my parent nights or Mike's parents' nights? Yeah. What happens after? Even if they're not super Cutco, what happens? What's the bare minimum that happens? Yeah, they understand. They go, okay. They don't have to love it, but at least they understand. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to move forward. Next thing, district experiences. We're going to do the savings calendar. Savings calendar. Can we get help, please? Actually, I take that back. Matrix, I'm sorry. Wait, what's... Yeah. Take one. Next thing going around is the scoring system. This is how you rank high, rank low. Go up, points per spot. Like the top 1/3. Squall. With top 3 series. Italy. Home. We're nostalgic. Awesome. Pretty sure one squad was the team for you guys got this already?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, real quick. Can I get everyone's attention? And districts need your help kind of walking around. This is going to be important to explain this. So here's the matrix. You don't have to read the whole paragraph. Everyone's going to get graded on a 5-point system. This way, it keeps it objective. There's no favoritism. Right? Let's say, for example, like Reed. Reed and I love talking to Reed, and on a personal level, it's really easy to connect with Reed. But this prevents me from saying, well, I like Reed, so she's going to be a range. So there are no politics like that in TLA. Okay? Now, there is an element of me, I can rate Reed, I can rate her with that. Oh no. You did the whole time. Probably when the music came on, I muted it. I just saw the FC sign. It's all good. Okay, so take a look. Districts and branches, one more time, please pay attention. Andrew is also back there because this is different. So take a look at the first column. It says these are the dates and the deadlines. Remember, this is not a hard deadline where if the money's not in, you're cut from TLA. This is what's called a PACE deadline. Who can explain what that means? What's a PACE deadline? Hold on, we need some extras over here, Orlando. Go ahead.
It's kind of like a short-term goal.
It's a short-term goal. Who's ever watched the Olympics and they're swimming or running? And there's that line. And they swim. What's the line? We show the pace for what? The record. And if they're behind the pace, they won't hit it. If they're ahead, they'll hit it. If you're on pace or ahead of pace, you'll probably get a branch. And you'll rank higher. That's what it means, okay? So take a look. Right now, $100 right now saved is what you should have to be on pace. October 18th, save another 400 to get to 500. It's pretty self-explanatory. By November 11th, save another 250 to get to 1,000. So forth and so forth and so forth. You notice $3,000. And districts and branches, I know in Old North Florida, I know what number you promoted. So our number is 3,000 to be on pace. You divide it by 4 a month. That's a pretty typical average what you would be spending on $500 for an apartment and food. $750 a month is rough, it's lower, but $500 a month is an apartment and food per month. That's why 3,000 is the number. So what happens, and John made this point, what happens if you have more money? Why is that good?
More food?
Oh, not more food, no. Well, if you want to eat more food, you need it. To a degree, yeah. Like for example, when I talked to Andrew about his budget, he eats a lot more than $250 a month. So we worked that into the budget. So his number is more like 4,000 or 5,000. Okay. Any other thoughts on? But Eddie. Louder, because they're doing work outside.
Why do you have more just for the sake of ranking? It's more competitive.
There you go. When you can show you save more money, the company sees that and they're more likely to give you a branch or an assistant spot. Questions so far? Okay. Here's the most important part. We're going to recognize starter code. Look at the bottom. It's the most important part. By September 24th prep. Okay. This is the key. It's like the matrix. $1,000 in startup is the key to being on pace for opening a branch or a top assistant position. So for example, after the summer, you know, everyone wants to run a branch or be an assistant in a certain office. You want to be a top candidate, you got to get to 1,000 by September 24th. Now, some of you already did that. So part of it is withholdings. Some of it is submitting checks. I think Lauren Miro gave me a check today or yesterday. I got 4 checks yesterday, and I got about 30 on tour. Got a bunch of cash and a lot of people saving. Raise your hand if you have withholdings being pulled from your. Okay, just keep that. Just keep that. So 1,000. And we're going to recognize people over 1,000. If you're over 1,000 right now, before 21st, the 24th of September, you're already on pace to be the top candidate to get a position you want. So if you're saying, Jeff, next year I really want to be the assistant in this office. Well, we'll decide that, but if you don't rank high enough, it doesn't matter. Let's say, Eddie, what do you want to do? Well, I want to be a top branch manager and I want to run my own show and I'd like to be considered. Okay, if you're not at 1,000 by the 24th, you already drop off. So real quick, I'd like to recognize people who are already over 1,000 startup right now. Well, let's do this. If you're $500 in your total savings, plus anything you gave me, cash or check during the tour, I'd like you to stand up. I'd like to recognize 500 or more, stand up. Okay. Districts and branches, can I get some help in doing a head count when we get to over 1,000? This doesn't include the virtuals, by the way. This doesn't include people who are virtual in. So if you're, this is great. So this is a combination of withholding accounts and checks submitted. 750. Oh, by the way, look at the second deadline, October 1st. What's the second deadline amount? 500. So right now, everyone standing is over the pace for the next month already. And that's a key phrase. I know Andrew's going to talk about this. Andrew's going to talk about 2 levels up. When you're with startup, whatever this says, try to be 2 steps ahead. So if you're standing, you're 2 steps ahead already. You know what's really cool? Raise your hand if honestly you didn't really think about doing it, it just kind of happened. That's the cool thing. We got you. We tricked you into saving. How great is that? We tricked you into putting your score ahead. We tricked you into having a percentage that you didn't see it, and now you're a top-ranked candidate. If you're 750 or higher, stay standing. Okay, solid. If you're 1,000 or higher, stay standing. 1,000 or higher. So real quick, can we count the people standing? I know we have several people who are virtual. This includes current branches too, right?
Two virtual.
Yeah. I want to count the people in this room, including branches, that are over 1,000. It's positive. Last year we had 10. 27? Count folks. 48. 23. Okay. And then you have how many virtual? 3 for sure. Okay, it's 31. Exciting. Can someone WhatsApp the United page? How many? So put 29 here. And just put it 29 with 1,000 plus line. Okay. How about 1,500 or higher? 2,000 or higher?
Higher, baby.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2,000 higher. Can I get a higher, baby?
Higher, baby.
Who was at VIP night? When I was pouring champagne, how many of you went higher, baby? That was fun. 2,500 or higher. Can I get a higher, baby?
Higher, baby.
3,000 saved or higher. 4,000 or higher. 5,000 or higher. Josie Daco has in excess of it. Josie has 5,800. Okay. 6,000 or higher. Marcel, what's the number now?
5132.
51. Okay. I would say 5,000 or higher. Right now, you're the top 10%. Because there's also a slew of people not here. 6,000 or higher. These are assistants, of course. 7,000 or higher. Can I get a higher, baby?
Higher, baby.
8,000 or higher. 9,000. I know the number. No, it's higher. Oh no, you had to pay for it. So what's it now?
It's just right at.
All right, outstanding. Trevante, assistant manager and crew, $8,000. What's it now?
Like 8 something.
Eight something. Can we give a round of applause for our top startup? I don't know. So much fun. Here's what's really cool. If you're over 1,000, you're on pace. How many of you are not too far from 1,000? Get on pace. Districts and branches. I just want to point out the key is so for Luke and Andrew, Mike, Karina, Orlando, and all the branches. We've already got out of areas probably 40 people over 1,000. Okay. So if we can get, I think the goal is to get 60 to 70 by September 24th. That would be massive. Nice work, everybody. I just can't tell you how exciting that is to see that number. Nice job. Look at the bottom, and we'll wrap up. Bring up Andrew. It says key startup benchmarks for top branch and vet dom candidates. By September 24th, is 1,000 plus. By Olean, 2,000 plus. And by awards boot camp, it's 3,000, meaning you hit the full amount by January. Here are the startup ranges. If you have less than 3,000, it's considered below average, 3,000 to 5,000 average, and then our top people will have 5,000 to 10,000 by next summer. Any questions? Okay. Good. Last thing. I want to talk to you about a letter of intent. All my athletes, raise your hand. If you play college sports. College sports. Okay. High up. Swimming, baseball, football, crew, badminton, chess. Okay. What is a letter of intent for sports? Austin, rather. Let's say I'm at Hialeah in high school, right? Oh, I'm sorry, let's go.
Hialeah Gardens.
Hialeah Gardens High School. And What does it mean when Austin Rodriguez puts a letter of intent in to University of Miami?
Basically, I said when you sign saying that you're going to start going to the school.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a 5-star recruit. Remember that? I'm a 5-star recruit, and all these schools want me. I'm signing a letter saying, no, I'm gonna play tackle. All the other schools are off the table. A letter of intent with us is a letter saying we're 100% committed to earning a spot to run a branch off. And if you just want to put one in to look good, a letter with anyone in TLA, it means I am in and I'm gunning for a spot next year. Doesn't matter if you're a first year. Please don't get yourself mixed up that you have to be an assistant to be a branch. It just happens that some of our branches have, but you don't have to be an assistant in the summer to be a branch. If you're an assistant in the fall and spring, that is also great training to run a branch office. But there are plenty of people. Francisco Duran in Puerto Rico is our #3 branch manager, and he was a rep last year. He ran all of Ponce. He'll finish top 20 in the nation this year. Okay? So it doesn't matter. You're an assistant, you just have that extra training, but it doesn't matter. Any questions on letter of intent? So let me give you the keys. I want you to write this down and then talk to your managers when it comes to letter of intent. I'll show you what one looks like. This is Grant Strayer's letter of intent. Letter of intent. First point, ready? It's addressed to Mr. Scott Dennis and Jeff Gamboa. Do Scott first because he's the region manager. So, dear Mr. to Mr. Scott Dennis and Jeff Gamboa, that's the first part of the letter. I have about 12 of these already. First part of the letter is dear Mr. Scott Dennis and Jeff Gamboa. Number 2 is first paragraph rather. State your intentions to be a branch manager. So ready? For example, I'm formally submitting my letter of intent to become a branch, to train to earn a branch manager position for the summer of 2018. So explain your intent, paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, explain why you're making a decision, and why you're excited to do it. So, Scott Dennis, Jeff Gamboa, number 1, I'm formally submitting my letter of intent. Number 2, why? And number 3, why you? I'll give you another one. This is Luke's, kind of short and sweet. It's with gratification, without hesitation, they wish to submit my letter of intent to be the pilot sales manager for the Florida Caribbean Division during the summer of 2018. We will set out to run the #1 new business office in all vector with the ultimate goal of propelling Florida United to the #1 new business division in all vector by 2019. I'm excited to see how we can prepare as I submit 2 months earlier than last year, allowing us to prepare for unstoppable summer. Unstoppable. Okay. Now this is shorter. He's already submitted 2 of these, 3 of these before. The notice he didn't go through why, but for you first years, this is my formal submission. Why I'm submitting, why me? Any questions? Any quick feedback to the group on how to put a letter in? Like,
Something I always like to do as a branch, and as when I submitted my letters of intent, I also added in my action steps that I was going to take in order to earn my spot. And the reason why I like documenting that is for accountability for my higher ups, but also a reminder for myself, because whenever I felt like, why am I actually doing this? I reread my letter probably a dozen times during the non-summer season as I was preparing, just to get myself back on track, and back in the right mindset. So action steps, reminders wise, I think it's good.
okay. Any other feedback? Luke?
Yeah, don't just send it. Like,
I want to bring up Andrew to speak from a really exciting perspective of someone who is trained to be an assistant manager in TLA. Then he was a branch manager, a second-year branch manager, and now a record-breaking branch manager. Along the way, 2 championship silver cups marking his efforts to be in the #1 office. And everyone knows the culture, the excitement, and the results, most importantly, from Metro Miami. So I want to have Andrew speak, and I think there's no one more qualified as a college student on how to train than Andrew right now. So Andrew's going to walk through the matrix. He's going to show, all right, this is what Jeff said, but let me show you how you do it. This is what Jeff said you do to earn a spot next year, but let me show you the best way to go through the path. And how about this? This would be a cool way to intro. For those of you from Metro Miami, what's one thing you appreciate about Andrew's leadership and Andrew as a person? Positivity. Gage.
Reasonable goals that we actually accomplish.
Yeah, he sets tangible goals that we accomplish. Meaning he knows how to, as a business person, set the right types of goals. That's great. Kempo. Fearless but understanding. That's probably might be one of my favorite things to hear about Andrew. Fearless but understanding.
Extremely committed.
Yeah, committed.
Even if he doesn't know how to answer the question, he'll go above the
Yeah, he's accommodating and he'll work for you. Right.
Drive.
Yeah.
So for former, he gets up every day at 4 in the morning to get to the gym at 5. He makes it by 7.
Yeah. It's consistency. And you know what? He didn't just start that before the summer. Okay, go ahead.
Just a great guy.
He is just a great guy, bro. He is just a great guy, bro.
I'm calling Andrew, bro.
And that's right.
Not you, bro.
Okay, ready? If you would please, big round of applause, 100% engaged for Mr. Andrew Evans.
So we're going to dive right into this stuff right now. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is, like I said, not just being 100% engaged during this message and during this talk, but I really think about being 100% engaged throughout the fall and spring and what that looks like. And one thing that I do want to talk about is for you all, if you do have that personal clarity where you're hungry, you're going to help branch, I would highly recommend you get your letter of intent get it in before school starts, get it in by the end of the week. I would get that as soon as possible because realistically, all it is just a paper. It's not really, it doesn't take much time. But what that is it's a simple direct commitment. And to Eddie's point right now too, he was kind of actually nervous and hesitant to submit his letter of intent. At first, some of you guys might not be nervous, but you would, it would definitely be nervous. It would be like a big deal to do that. But once you do that, you get personal clarity. And like Jeff mentioned earlier, once you have clarity, it's easier to make decisions too. So I highly recommend that. I know that your training will be a lot stronger, once you're committed. It's the same thing too. Like you're automatically going to sell a lot more just being a part of the SC2 Alliance than you would have not been a part of it because you're making that commitment, right? So I would highly recommend, getting 100% engaged at the fall and the spring too. And, the fall and the spring, like when it comes to training, it's just a longer haul. Some of you all have trouble managing yourselves. But if you can't manage yourself, you can't manage other people. It's something I talked about a lot about throughout today. So use the fall and the spring to start mastering the skills and the things that you need to do to become the person you need to become to, operate and be a successful manager next summer. So the first thing that I would mention too is there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the fall and spring. Some of you guys, it's like an up and down every other day. For y'all selling, so getting your emotional capacity a little bit higher too and be able to handle more ups and downs that are long term as you move through different stages, I think is something that's really, really important. And that's something that you're going to learn probably in the first TLA message and the first prep on Labor Day. And that's something we'll go over continually as time progresses. But I encourage you to be, like I said, 100% engaged. I want to talk to you about specifically the matrix scores, how to move the needle, what action matters on these two, and everything's numerical numbers, but I'll tell you some things matter a little bit more than others. The first thing is career sales. That's really important. Here's the deal. I think most managers left the room. I can't imagine anyone running their own office that's under $30,000 in career sales. Okay, I can barely imagine, right? It's really hard to coach someone to go out and have a big sales performance when you haven't even sold that much. Okay. You can't submit it, and so that's maybe the problem for some of y'all. Some of y'all are like, oh, I just want to be an assistant manager, next summer because I like coaching and teaching people more than I like selling. But that's not ever the reality because you're not going to be able to coach and teach anyone good if you can't sell. right? That's why the selling is the prerequisite to becoming a good coach and good leader. So you gotta get your career skills up. I'll tell you, if you already had a really strong performance this summer, that's gonna be one thing that you don't have to worry about as much when it comes to career sales. Like if you're already 30, 40, 50K, I wouldn't worry that much about career sales, but I would still, worry about the fall campaign sales for consistency. If you're only at 10K, maybe you barely made the cut, you really gotta perform throughout the fall and spring to get there. Because like, for instance, my summer, I only sold I was only like 17K in sales going into the actual end of the summer and going into TLA. And then I probably sold another 10 to 15K around the fall, then like another 5 to 10K in the spring. So I went out that summer around like 35 to 40K by like April or May. Now it's my first year too, because I knew I was a little bit lower on the sales game, so I needed to make sure I stepped up a little bit more throughout the fall and spring. So lucky for you all, if you already have higher sales, you don't have to worry about career sales, like I said, as much. But when it does come to fall campaign sales, I'll tell you right now, consistency is key. And consistency goes a long way. And I was talking to a couple people on our team too. It doesn't matter if you are the person that had a 10K push performance for SC2. In fact, most of the people in this room had close or had a 10K push performance. Okay, but having one strong push doesn't make you a great manager, right? Being able to have multiple and be consistent with your results over time. That's what makes you a great, gives you the assets and the skills to become later on down the road a great coach. So consistency is key. For me, when I first started my first year in TLA, I was like a high school student. So like Jeff said, there's two different ways of going about fall selling. Some of you all will actually be involved in an office. You'll be going to weekly meetings. You'll be just selling part-time in your classes, selling $500 to $1,000 a week. That's going to be awesome. Carlos is going to give an entire talk tomorrow about an hour on taste of fall selling. So I'm not going to talk about that very much. But, the route that I went to is maybe make longer-term goals. So I was super busy. Pretty much actually every single year that I've done TLA, I've just been massively busy with my schedule. And one of the big things that I did, I would just set like monthly goals, right? So it wouldn't necessarily be maybe I couldn't get $1,000 a week. There was weeks where I sold $0, right? But I just make sure I got to like my monthly goal, so my goal for the entire campaign. So maybe I didn't do, I had finals weeks or some crazy busy week going on for a week and a half. I didn't do a single demo, right? And then I would plan out like a Saturday blitz day where I'd knock out like 4 or 5, and then I'd put up, $2,000 or $3,000 in the report, and then I wouldn't do anything again for another 2 or 3 weeks. Now, that's not necessarily the way I would suggest it. If you can and you have the schedule to, I would be a little bit more consistent with it. It's a whole lot easier to just sell, a smaller amount consistently on a regular basis than it is to try to come out with like just random big sales here and there too. But for me, that was it. So if you're someone that doesn't need money, you don't really need to sell, around the fall, and you have a really, really busy schedule, then I'll just make sure, like I said, you just got to put up something too. You got like SLC, OE, and push. Those are the 2 times where it matters the most. I would do that, basically SLC, OE, and winter break. And if you can sell like even just about $3 to $4 grand for each of those, you're good. You're in a golden ticket too. So just something to keep in mind. Startup, like Jeff mentioned earlier, like the company is not going to give like 10 grand of money to someone that can't even manage their own money, right? The one thing I will say too is that this is like, it's crazy that our company, like you have to save money to run your own branch office. Like you need to be able to have money so you can cover expenses if you need to. But it's just such a joke compared to if you were going to open a franchise with any other company or organization. Like if you wanted to run your own Smoothie King, for instance, like does anyone know how much that would cost? Okay, so like if you wanted a Smoothie King, you're gonna pay them about like 500 grand to $1 million just to get the licensing fee. Okay, so once basically you're paying the company that you're gonna be working for, like you're gonna open a franchise, you're gonna pay them almost $500,000 to $1 million basically to get the actual Smoothie King licensing. Then you're gonna pay for the entire store. Okay, you're gonna have to sign a 3 to 5 year lease in a big department store like that. Then they're going to supply you discount, like they can buy all the goods and stuff like that for them. So you have to pay for all the costs of all the products in your store, but at least they kind of hook you up because they'll give you a discounted rate. So then you pay for all that stuff now. So now you're at a couple, $5-6 million in the hole, and then they make money off of all your sales too. So a portion of your profits every single month, or revenue, excuse me, not even profits. So you could be losing money, and you still have to pay them money every single month to run your office. Here, it's like you run an office and they pay you money. It's like, hey, here's 10 grand, go out and be successful. Okay, that's like insane and it's unheard of, and they're giving it to like 18 and 19-year-old students. So, like I said, it's important. They're not gonna, having a startup is important for 3 reasons. Number one, too, like I said, Jeff said, cover your personal expenses. If you want a better territory, sometimes this territory is like Miami or Boca can be a little bit more expensive market. So again, cash is king, cash is confidence. And just having more startup too ultimately reflects on your number one, financial acumen and financial ability to save too. But all three of these basically, come down to selling. And if you're someone's like, oh, well, I really don't like selling, well, you probably shouldn't be in TLA, because eventually, you might really like management too, but at the end of the day, this is a sales company, a sales job. And as much as you might like learning the feel good and some of that too, it's important to be able to sell, because that's ultimately what this company is, the sales organization too. The last few things too is intangibles. And I would, if you're writing it down, I would start that on your paper, okay? That's only got 5 points, but I'll tell you, it's probably got a lot more than that, right? I know Jeff said it's not like a favoritism contest, and it's definitely not. But, it's the little tiny things that determine, where you are. It's little decisions you make. It's not, for instance, you'll have conflictions with preps and events along the way, right? And conflicts, things like that are totally okay, and they're going to happen across the room. There's different school allowances. But are you the person that communicates it like, boom, we just left the conference, you go home and get all the dates, and you're communicating with Jeff like right now, it's like, hey, Jeff, on this date, 2 months from now, I had this going on. What can we do to fix this and work around this? Or are you the person that realizes 4 days beforehand, and then you cancel, and then you flake on it, and you're giving your manager problems, and then you're being unreliable to Jeff, and then we have to create last-minute resources for you to make it happen, right? Or which one are you? Are you the person that has an assignment due, and it's to do at midnight, and you submit a really complete, well-done assignment 2 days beforehand? Or are you the person that sends an email to Jeff's inbox at 11:59 p.m., right? And it shows that you probably put in barely work into it and wait till the very last second to get something in. Or even worse, are you the person that turns it in the next day, or he forgets to do it? Are you the person that prep starts, we have our monthly prep, and it starts at 10 a.m., right? Are you the person that's there at 9 a.m., ready to roll, engage, focus, looking sharp, and you're already role playing and getting ready for the day? Are you the person that gets there like right at 9:59 p.m. or right at 9:59 a.m. and you barely make it in the door on time and you look like a mess, right? Those little intangibles, those little things, those conversations that you have with the manager, how you show up to things. Are you the person that's just sitting there listening? Are you the person that's actively engaged, taking notes? All those little things are what add up to the intangibles. And when Jeff says he notices everything, that's really his way of telling you, saying everything's an interview, right? He's constantly taking note, and so are all the other managers in the room. And it's very, very clear. You can usually see from people's body language, like people can enter this organization, not even know what's going on, and can probably point to the best people in here because they're always the most well prepared, they're the most well engaged, the most ready to roll. So like I said, intangibles are key. And if you have any questions about what's appropriate, like what's the appropriate conversation to have with Jeff, what's the appropriate way to arrive at the event, talk to your manager because they all know, right? And they've all been there, and they're all there to support you all for that. So that's the next thing is intangibles. And the last thing I'll mention too is skill set. So when it comes to the actual skill set too, like it's not that much time. You don't need to spend hours worth of your time practicing these managerial skills, but you just have to put and allocate the time. So in a second, I'm going to talk to you about time management. But as long as you allocate the time, you'll get it done. If you're in TLA, you can sell, you can easily coach people and stuff like that too. We just got to teach you the skills. You got to put the time involved to actually practice them and come prepared to events. So, and I have more thoughts on that too that I'll elaborate on in a second. The first thing I'll mention is office involvement. Like you, not only make sure you get all involved in an office. If you're virtual, by the way, okay, you have a high level of personal responsibility that's put on top of you. Okay, your manager, if you're like virtually chiming in and you don't actually have no home office, okay, your old manager is not going to text you all throughout the fall and spring and remind you to come to things. It's not going to be like you get a call on Tuesday to remind you for the team meeting on Wednesday. Okay, you're going to have a high level of personal responsibility to make sure you're following up and doing everything you can on your end. And the same degree, even if you have another office, no one's trying to remind you about when you should come to an event or when you shouldn't too. So when it comes to office involvement, guys, I always make sure you're engaged and present anytime you're actually coming to a meeting, right? If it's a weekly prep, actually use that time to practice, get in there and role play, and with your manager. So the monthly preps is when kind of Jeff will go over the general skills, and you can think of the weekly preps as that's a chance for actually practice them, okay? Because the grit, and that's why TLA is so valuable, is because you can go to conferences like this. We can go to them all throughout the year. But if you don't get a chance to implement the things you learn here, you'll never grow, right? They're just going to be, it's just like reading a book but never implementing any of those. We call those textbook entrepreneurs. They just know a lot of information but never implement anything. So those weekly preps that you get involved in the office, that's what's going to give you the opportunity to take what you learn in these monthly preps and actually practice it, test it out. And don't practice it once, but get good at it and master it too and develop those skills. So make sure you guys read those and engage in those. Selling. Actually, I'm gonna skip that one for time purposes, because we'll talk more about that a little bit too. Okay. As far as time management goes, I think this is something that's really, really important. Okay. You have got to get this down. If you cannot manage your own time, you will never be successful here as a manager at Costco. Okay. If you cannot manage your own time. So if you can't manage your own time for TLA in the fall and spring, not only will you not have a shot, but you also won't really ever do well here, and you probably won't do too well too many other places, okay? I can personally tell you, like, I have more on my plate than most of you. I have more on my plate in a week than some of you guys do for an entire semester. But I find a way to get it all done, and I don't ever really get stressed out. And the reason I can say that confidently is because I just do a lot of planning. You know, Mike gave an amazing talk yesterday on time management, and I really hope you guys are using that and implementing that in the fall and spring too. But it's one thing just to know how to plan your schedule. It's another thing to commit to the actions of planning it every single week, right? I'll spend 2 to 3 hours on a Sunday night. Eddie remembers this. We'd go to the library, and I'd be there for 4 hours, and I wouldn't even start studying for school. And he's like, what do you do this whole time? I was been planning, right? And I would spend all that time planning because I knew those hours I was taking out of my time to plan were going to make the productivity for the rest of the week super efficient. I was going to be able to accomplish and get everything else I needed to get done for that entire week too. So the keys are make a schedule and actually stick to it. You can't procrastinate, okay? Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development, because success is something that you attract by the person that you become, right? So yeah, I'll say that again too. You might want to write this down. I'll say it slowly. Here, your level of success. Okay, your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. Your level of success will seldom your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development, because success is something that you attract by the person that you become. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And so not just in rankings, guys. So here's the deal. We're talking about matrix form. I'm talking about how do you make a good impression. Time management is an important aspect of that, okay? But this is for you personally. If you don't master your time management abilities in the fall and spring, you are not going to succeed as an assistant manager or branch manager, because there's so many things going on at once. So if you're really bad at that, that's okay. Realize you're really bad at that, but use this fall and spring to start working and developing the habits that will help you become better at that too. If you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, reach out to your manager, sit down with them, and walk through your schedule so you can start developing those habits. Like I said to you guys, I really don't get stressed, even with all the stuff I have on my plate. I'm going to be running an office around taking 15 credits, 3 majors. I'm the president of a fraternity, and I'm involved in like 20 other clubs at school. And I won't really get that stress, you know, throughout the fall or the spring too, because I just do an excellent job of planning. And I can tell you at the times when I do get stressed, I'd always reverse. I'm like, you know, I got a million things running through my head. It's because I didn't do a good job planning. And that's what it comes down to. So make sure you guys are taking the time out to do that and make it happen. Here's another thing I can talk to you guys about is energy. I want you to write that down, energy. Okay. You've got to be able to manage your energy, right? And you need to learn how to be good at energy management. Here's the first thing, like I said earlier, you can't manage other people until you can manage yourself, right? And here's the deal: your energy influences your beliefs, okay? And your beliefs influence your identity and who you are as a person. Energy is a universal currency in language, okay? And you know, here's the deal: energy is the foundation for influence. When you can learn how to give another person energy, that's when you become an epic influencer. When you learn how to pour energy into someone else and give them energy, that's when you'll have an epic influence. So here's the deal though, before you can learn how to give other people energy, you gotta learn how to master your own energy first. So I think about a couple different things. Here's a pitfall on why most people don't have good energy, okay? And it's because they take energy for granted versus valuing energy. And I want you to write that down. Take energy for granted versus valuing energy. And think about which one are you? Are you in the stage where you value energy and your energy on a daily basis is crucial and important to you? Or are you someone that takes energy for granted? You know, a lot of people in this room probably have ADHD, right? And many people use that as an excuse, right? Because you have high energy. And they're like, oh, I have an excuse, I can't do this, blah, blah, it's hard for me to do X, Y, Z, and execute, because I have ADHD or I can't focus, right? And society probably told us that was bad, okay? But energy is a gift. Having a lot of high energy, that's a gift. You have to value it, okay? Everything is easier when you have more energy. So here's the deal. You have to be aware of the voices in your head that are negative and the voices that are positive and epic, and you have to give your energy to those ideas. So I want to give you guys some keys to actually having energy, okay? First off, focus on activities that give you more energy, okay? Focus on activities that give you more energy. You know, there's a saying, when you lack energy, give it. So for some of you guys, this might be, you know, doing something like working out. Some of you all might have a sport or a hobby that you do, and when you do it, it just makes you feel free. You get energy from it. For some of you guys, like, you know, I know, like, for instance, Gabe Torres loves playing basketball, right? You know, there's different things. When you're an office manager, and a key is next summer too, you got to make sure you allocate time to do those things, because you know you're gonna perform at a higher level if you're doing those things. That's why sometimes, you know, I'll be in the office, I could work another 5 hours, or I might just leave the office early to go do something or do an activity on a weekly basis that I know is gonna give me energy, because I know it's gonna help me perform at a higher level. And I'm gonna be able to operate and do a much more impact tomorrow if I show up with a lot more energy and energized and ready to roll for the day than if I stay in the office for another 3 hours and I can barely think and I'm super groggy, right? So have an activity, whatever it is, and know that activity, like whatever gives you energy, whatever you enjoy doing. It could be volunteering, it could be going to church, it could be, you know, doing an athletic activity, but make sure that that becomes the #1 priority in your schedule, because that's gonna help you operate at a better version of you. I also think about your biology, and I write that next down. Next is your biology, right? So when it comes to energy, we have atoms, molecules, systems, organs, cells, okay? All those things, they need water and they need nutrients, okay? So, and they need oxygen. So give your body water, give your body oxygen, give your body the things that it needs. And some of you guys are like, okay, cool, I know that stuff, but are you actually conscientious, right? Are you thinking about the things that you're putting into your body on a daily basis, right? I don't work out because I want to, like, get fit and look good, and trust me, I want to get fit and look good too, and that's a big motivator, but I work out as I have to because it gives me a lot more energy. When I want to show up to the office at 8 a.m., if I just wake up and I roll into the office, I show up and I'm like groggy, I don't feel like myself, it's hard for me to focus, I have to drink coffee. When I wake up and I go to the gym in the morning, by the time I get to the office at 8 a.m., I have the most energy in the room, I feel great. It doesn't matter how I felt when I woke up, I feel ready to roll up for the day. And so I have a commitment to my energy, and that's why I work out, and that's why I make those decisions too. So take care of your biology, go to the gym, give yourself more energy, live a healthy lifestyle, and be mindful of it too. Like, don't just, like, you know, take it for granted. And here's the deal, guys, too. If you're not someone that likes to go to the gym, that's fine. But like I said, be conscientious of your energy, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. I was talking to Mike the other day when we were working out in Atlanta, and, you know, there's days where you'll work out or wake up and you'll go to the gym, and quite frankly, I don't want to be there. You know, I've already got a problem. Like, I could probably leave early, but I always, you know, make sure I go, and I give it every single thing I've got every single day that I go, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. And it's like, hey, if I'm not an animal in the gym, how am I gonna go to the office in an hour and be an animal in the office today? Right? If I'm not an animal in this aspect of my life, how am I gonna go out and crush this aspect of my life too? It's like, nah, if I quit here, I'm gonna quit there. Right? So I give everything I got to. So again, when you're focused on putting energy into your life, you're gonna have more energy biologically, physically throughout the day. You're gonna have more energy in your relationships. You're gonna have more energy to crush your TLA assignments and also crush school and also have a good time at the same time. And so make sure you're conscientious and focus on that. Another good thing that can help is having a morning routine. So having actually something in the mornings that you can stick to that's consistent. For some of you all, that might be journaling. For some of you all, it might be exercising. For some, it might be, you know, meditating or gratitude, whatever the case is. But have a daily morning routine that you can go to that's going to consistently give you energy. It could be coffee and a great breakfast, and then, you know, just time to reflect and thank you for the day. But have a great morning routine that's going to give you that energy on a daily basis. So, you know, I don't think Jeff's in the room. I'll say this right now too. It's okay to work hard and play hard. Trust me, I love doing that as well. Let's be real. Happy hour going to college in the fall, especially for those of you guys that are freshmen. It's going to be really, really fun. Okay, there's people will go out every single night of the week, 24/7, and it's gonna be a blast too. But, you know, like I said, again, be mindful of your energy. If you're gonna go out really that late the night before, there's tailgates, there's parties every single night of the entire school year. But you can't waste your time. You can't go out every single night if you're the type of person that's gonna sleep until 1 or 2 o'clock the next day. Then don't go out, right? I'll tell you right now, I go out all the time, but I'm up in the morning at 8 a.m. ready to roll for the next day too, because I make sure that I do actions the night before
whether it be drinking water, exercising, doing other things that are smarter, that's going to make sure that you're mindful of your energy the next day. So you wake up and you're ready to roll the next day too, guys. And again, it's okay to work hard and play hard, but, you know, I've seen too many times people get overwhelmed because they can't handle, you know, tailgating and school and TLA. And it's like they just can't map out their schedule. But if they were even just a little bit more conscientious of their energy, of their time management, it would be really, really easy. And they could work hard, have their cake, and eat it too. Okay? And so that's something that I definitely recommend for you. Last few things too is make decisions in an empowered state. You know, don't make decisions in an energy neutral state. So make sure when you're making decisions, when you're going through rough phases, when you're going through rough patches, that when you're making those decisions, you're making them in an energy increased state. And I'd ask yourself right now, okay? And I want you to write down this question and take maybe 30 seconds to a minute to answer it. But where does your standard need to increase personally? Where does your standard for energy or for personal management need to increase personally? You know, for some of you all, it might be biologically, the things that you're eating, the things you're putting into your body. Some of you all might be a morning routine, being more consistent. Some of it might be you're good with all that stuff. You just need to actually commit to making it a daily habit and to making sure you put those habits right in front of you and make them first. But take 30 seconds to think about, you know, where does your standard need to increase personally?
For the record, I'm still sore from that workout.
Okay. All right, and you know, where focus goes, guys, energy flows. So, like I said, focus on the areas that you want to impact on a daily basis, and grow a system that you can consistently use to put yourself in peak energy state. You know, so Mike's great at that. He always talks about different things that you can do. You know, he says, hey, change your state, right? And have a go-to, whether it's drinking a lot of water, jumping up and down, but have a go-to thing that you can put in that gets you energy. For instance, when you want to run interviews later on, some of y'all will be running interviews within the next couple of weeks. Some of you all not until the end of the semester, some of y'all in a month or two, okay? You know, when you want to run your own interview, before you get up and do any public speaking, you always want to do something that puts you into a great, you know, state. So I remember like Eddie and Gabe, for instance, they would have one song in the office that they would play basically before every single interview. And it was the same song, and it was the most annoying song all summer, and I hate it now. But every single time they play that, it's like, boom, interview mode, let's go. You know, and then, yeah, they'd get juiced up. They'd go from like, you know, half dead to like wide awake, and they'd be ready to roll for the next day too. So have habits and grow systems that you can use to consistently put yourself into energy peak state. Last few things that I'll mention, okay, is I want you to write this down. Don't fall off the grid. Don't fall off the grid. Okay? I'm telling you right now, and I really wish this was not the case, but not all of you will be here in a month. And not all of you will be here when we go to Olean in New York. Not all of you will be here by winter break. And I wish that wasn't the case. I'd like to for y'all to prove me wrong, every single person be here, but that's just the reality. So don't fall off the grid, right? The thing is, I don't think I've ever seen anyone drop out of TLA or drop off or lose course, off track or branch because they decided to put their energy into something else that made them a lot more successful or that made them a lot more happy. They performed at a lot higher level, okay? Usually it's people who drop off TLA because their inability to hold and manage onto classes and also like a small amount of work on the side and then also having fun and then like family and they can't manage all those things all at once, okay? That's usually why people aren't here in a month, 2 months, 3 months time. So make sure you're engaged. I would find, you know, some circle of influence. We talked about that circle of influence too, but have you thought about not who your circle of influence was this summer? Who's gonna be your circle of influence going into the fall, right? Who's the 2 to 3 people that you can lock arms with and say, hey, we're in this together. We're gonna learn with through the ups and downs, wherever we are mentally, and we're gonna be checked in, we're gonna be focused with each other throughout the fall and spring we can train, because we're gonna make sure that next summer, us 3 are gonna be some of the best trained people coming out of the year, right? So I would think about, and I would take a couple of seconds to write down 2 to 3 people that you can lock arms with this fall, that you can hold accountable and they can hold you accountable. And find those people and then hold them accountable, right? I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about that. There's 2 to 3 people that you can put in your learn with category that's intentional. And don't put down people that are people just because they're a friend, okay? If you know that person is always negative, and that's a person that always has like comments that hold you back, and that person's not on their A game, don't put them in your learn with circle, Okay, I'm just being honest. You can be their friend, you can still talk to them, but don't make that person your accountability partner, because you know you're just going to be keeping them accountable, not you. Okay, so be intentional about the people you're putting in your circle. Just because you're not with someone right now, write their name down, talk about this conference, and say, hey, I put you down. I know you're noticed you're someone that has these qualities. I know we don't talk and connect that much, but I'd like to have you someone that can hold me accountable throughout the fall, so don't fall off the grid, right? And have those people ready to roll for you. So the last thing I say is communication is key. Communication with your manager, okay? Especially those of you that are going away to different schools. It's really, really easy to be all hyped in the Cutco world when you're here working on it all day, all the time, and you're coming into the office every single day. You know, it's really hard. You're drinking the Kool-Aid, okay? But as soon as you go away to school and you're in a farther away area, maybe you're not getting that typical daily influence, okay? Some of you all won't even be getting as much of a weekly influence because you're virtual for that, right? But if you can't get in the office, you know, make sure, like I said, there's high communication between you and your manager. That communication is the most important thing. I'll tell you right now, for instance, Campo came back this summer. The one thing that he did well, better than everyone else too, is we just talked. We literally just had a call. Him and Jeff had a call. We had a call, you know, every couple of weeks too. We just kept in high communication too. Campo really did not do that great of a job with his training last year, and he's going to step it up this year and be a top 5 branches in the country. And I like that. Yeah, give it a round of applause. But you know, the one thing he did a great job was he's kept in constant communication, and he was good at talking. He was good at making sure he followed up with us, and didn't turn into that person where it's like, oh, you know, usually when people stop communicating well, it's because they stop performing. Okay, that's when you need the most communication. That's when you need to talk to us the most. The worst thing you can do is, you know, you did 8 demos back to back, and then you'll call for PDI for coaching call. And you just hide in a huddle in your room. Okay, and then you never get the help that you need. It's the same thing in the fall and spring. Don't be someone that's constantly missing assignments and off your game, and then not reach out for help and not communicate. That's you're gonna fall off. You're not gonna be here anymore. Okay, that's what you need to do that the most. So make sure communication is key. Focus on your circle of influence. And then the last thing too is I'll just have, like, you know, a little bit of time for discussion. So we'll go around the floor and districts and previous NLG people that have gone through TLA before. If you guys have any other just tips on how to train, how to make the most out of a TLA program, and how to basically, you know, move the matrix tour throughout the fall and spring.
I would like to echo the morning routine, and I think that, you know, something that I even teach in training right now is showing up prepared, like athletes in the room. If you got you know, say you have the coach wants you at the field at noon, what time do you get there? So the game starts at noon. What time does the coach want you to get there? Maybe at 10:30, 11. You show up prepared, right? So if your class starts at 8 or 9, right? What time do you think you want to show up prepared for your day? A lot of times it's a little bit more challenging to, like, show up for the day because class starts at 8 or 9, an hour and a half earlier than what time the class actually starts. So just kind of take that analogy into your life and think about what are the rituals that your coach has you do before the game at noon. If you do that for your game, it's a game. You do that for a game. How could you show up for your life? So I would encourage everyone in the room right now to make a list of ideas and brainstorm what a morning routine, like an ideal morning routine, what that would look like for you. Like, what would bring you the most amount of energy to start your day? And really just kind of brainstorm a couple of ideas and then practice starting tomorrow. You know, and stuff when traveling, but just think of some things that you think would bring you energy. Andrew gave you a couple of the list. What was it? Gratitude,
journaling in the morning. Yeah, just doing gratitude exercises, praying, meditating, exercising, just eating a really great breakfast and getting ready for the day. Doing something, you know, just reflection. You know, something that gives you energy.
There's a great book called Miracle Morning. Okay, it's a great book. There's also a Facebook community called the Miracle Morning Community, which is fantastic. That could be a great. His is called Savers, and the Saver stands for scribe, or silent. It starts with silence, also known as meditating. So Savers. S-A is affirmations, like great and powerful and strong affirmations. A. B is visualization, where you look at your goals, or you look at a vision board, or you look at maybe your goals thermometer, or your blue book, or you look at the things you want to get accomplished, maybe your big 3 or big 5 for the day. So visualization. So SAV, for those of you guys that are taking note of this. E is exercise. R is read. And S is scribe, journal.
I do hashtag BMW. So breathe, meditate, walk. So breathing, meditate, just like getting my mind in the right place, and then walk, movement. And then I'll chug a bunch of water. Those are a couple of ideas for you.
Cool. Awesome. Mike. So yeah, going back to that point, I guess you have a question. It's kind of random, but yeah, I usually go to the gym just on empty stomach.
That's the same.
Yeah, it's called. You have it spikes up your metabolism. You don't do it when you eat afterwards. Don't eat it for the gym. Anyways. All right, moving on. I want to pop around the room too because we still have about 5 more minutes here. I want to get other people that either assistant managers or branch managers have gone through TLA before, or district managers that haven't actually feedback yet. Sean.
Train like you're on varsity. You don't need the varsity spot.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. And if you take anything too, it's like train like you want to become a branch. You know, don't train. It's like, hey, I want to be the assistant manager. That's great. Train like you're gonna be a branch manager. Submit a letter of intent to be a branch manager. Because I guarantee that if you train like someone trying to get an assistant manager spot, you probably won't even have an assistant manager spot. Okay. I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a lot of high quality, high caliber people in the room. It's gonna be competitive. And the people that like probably should have branched but barely made the cut, those people get the top AM positions. Okay, not the people that like didn't do anything. It's like hopefully I can be assistant manager. You might come back next summer and maybe if you're lucky you have a sales rep opportunity. Okay, but you know, train like to Sean's point, train like you're gonna be on varsity. Worst case scenario, you end up on JV. You're the best person on JV. Yeah, Carlos had one.
Yeah, you know, like TLA 6 times in college. You know, for those of you that are going to third or fourth time, how hungry for growth are you? You know, you feel like you've arrived, you go to these meetings, like, I got to know this stuff. Well, you're giving talk, you're not. And that's the way that you've got to go into all these bets. And something I used to do is, I knew the book that we were going to read for the month or G. And for those of you that aren't at the next level, I would jump on it. I would be reading myself the books and
100%.
To get to that level. And as you're doing it, like that's step 1. Step 2 of savagery. It's like I know the next book, and I would read the next book before anyone else did, and then I would tell people like, yo, just telling you, chapter 3 is going to change your life. Chapter 6 is ridiculous, and then it was almost like a competition of who's growing more. And like we've already got a culture of performance in this organization. Think about what happens in this culture. Like, I'm going to come, right? And that goes way farther than money, way farther.
Yeah, Carlos' point too. And I take notes down when you're reading books. I'd reflect on them. I'd rather read the same book 10 times than 10 different books in a month. Because if you're just reading that and you're spitting information, you're not going to be absorbing it and taking it in. John, what do you?
So for those of you that are going out of town for college, I think I've gone through 2 tours of TLA while going to Boston University. And I'll tell you, being virtual can be tough sometimes. So I think a couple tips on how to combat, that feeling of, oh man, I got to sit in front of the computer for a few hours, or really just making sure that you're talking consistently with people that are in the division. Because it's very easy, especially when you don't have an office nearby, to kind of fall into the trap of out of sight, out of mind. Right? So I think that if you don't already have weekly assignments with your manager set up, to get done for TLA, to submit them, create little assignments for yourself. Right? It kind of goes back to Mike's talk on management, right? Those little check boxes. Of those 5, of those 5 make sure that one coming out one every week, right? Because as long as you're checking, you're consistently doing something, and communication with your manager, other people that are in the realm, you're going to keep yourself accountable. You're also going to help you held accountable by the other people in your circle. So don't fall into that trap of out of mind, high communication.
Yeah, awesome. Luke?
Yeah, to kind of piggyback on both of what they were saying is
I've been through TLA 3 times, and it wasn't until the 3rd time that I actually started doing the stuff that I kind of thought was weird for me that I really made a difference. Like morning routines. I know morning routines sound weird. Waking up early sounds weird. It sounds weird to journal. I thought journaling was the weirdest thing ever. I didn't do it for a long time. Started doing it. It was game changer. You know, it's like we're going to give you the tools to be able to do this stuff, and you could either be the one that puts everything together the night before to say you're being a part of TLA and go through the motions, or you can actually end up doing them and read books. For some of you, reading books might be weird, but start doing it, create a habit out of it. It's really powerful what you're able to do. That's what really where the growth comes. So I love the concept of outgrowing each other. It's one of my favorite cultures, something that we do a lot. I think one of the biggest reasons for me and Andrew's success and Carlos, people in our circle that we talk a lot, because we do stuff like that. We are constantly outpacing each other. If you guys could start doing that from year 1, imagine where you could be year 3, year 4. And that's super powerful.
Any other?
Don't think about all that, people need to figure out the concept of what that's like, and then I'll do the workouts in the morning routine because that's going to set your own habits right off the
Talk about this.
set those habits if you want. As soon as you get there, don't wait until you got your classes.
Cool. Awesome. Last thing too I'll say is just also to NLG. So raise your hand if this is your second time doing TLA. Come back to that next level. Okay. To Carlos's point, you know, how hungry are you, right? I just encourage you guys to make the most out of it. Like, it's really easy. Like, I'm sure I felt that way too when I was like going into after my first grant summer that I felt like I knew a lot. The thing is, you don't even realize you don't know the things that you don't know, okay? Unless you're off this with $1 million this summer, I promise you there's a million things that you could learn to get better for next year. And there's so many ways you can improve and grow and develop. Million in new business. So with that said, too, guys, I just challenge you guys, get into someone that's on a higher level, get coaching from them, drive and push yourself. The reason that, you know, for instance, that's maybe a big game changer for me is that you might know all the functions of the business, but now how do you take it to a higher level? How do you increase your coaching skills? How do you increase your influence ability for other people and your leadership attributes and skills? And take that fall and spring to really work on those things and actually get next level training. If you are here for another year and you come back next summer and you feel at a very similar place to where you were last summer, like, what the heck were you doing all fall and spring, right? Like, work hard now so you guys like are leveling up constantly, every aspect in every area of your life too, like I said, and make sure you're actually hungry for growth too. It's not just for the new people in the room. It's for myself or the vets, NLG people, and that's how we create a culture that's a constant pursuit of growth and create a dynamic 2019. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for taking a quick break. Yeah, we just wrapped up.
How was it?
Good.
Okay, cool. Let's do this. Can we see time frame from the crew outside because they're gonna come back for Carlos's message? Let's take a quick. Did you debrief already?
Yeah, actually, let's debrief.
Yeah, when can you debrief?
Yeah, so here, let's debrief. What biggest takeaways from either something someone else said or part of our message too? Yeah.
How we do one thing is how we do everything.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Alex. No ball, good. Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Find like 3 people who are like at your level or maybe like a little bit above where you want to be, and just use them as an accountability buddy. Because if you have someone that's like working alongside you towards something similar, it's like if you try to work out by yourself, but you work out with a buddy, it's a lot better experience.
Yeah, sure. Who can share a couple of their who they put down accountability? Yeah, Eddie.
So like for me, coming up last year was Gabriel Torres, just because he also had me and my
other, but it was a perfect thing. It was convenient, but we were both pushing for it. And like I know one thing just between Gabe and I was pushing her a little harder just because Gabe had a harder start for his summer, so like I know it helped him in terms of pulling him up. But for the same thing as me, I was pledging at the time, so it was like really hard, and I had to like literally annoy Andrew to keep his attention, just for the sake of that, because he wasn't around that much, and like, pledging was really hard because you don't have that time. When you have someone that's there, like, yo, wait, we need to be at a conference right now. Stop doing this stuff. It's like, all right, yeah, I'll give you a conference right now. I'm paying attention.
Yeah, to Eddie's point, Eddie gave her a great example of that too, of like just someone that's gonna like really hold you accountable. And like Eddie and Gabe weren't like super close going into the summer and like that. Not really. I could not even friends. Really. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but there's someone that immediately got into their influence in their circles, and they were holding each other accountable. Like, you know, there's times where like Eddie was just really slacking off, kind of falling off the grid, and Gabe's like, yo, let's get in here. You know, we know like I need you here accountable too. And Gabe would mention to me like, yo, you need help Eddie, he's falling off the grid. Right? And he's having that someone that's gonna actually hold accountable. When you don't have that person, you just fall off and no one cares about you. Okay, because you haven't built those circles. Well, I'm just being honest, because you haven't established those circles and those levels of accountability. Eddie, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to drive that home with the idea. Like, you gotta recognize who you are. And like for me, just how I grew up. Like, if I went home, I was going to sleep. So like my biggest thing is like, all right, I wake up, I'm not going home until I'm going to sleep. So I just knew I had to stay out of it. And I knew, like, I always at least made my agreements, because although I was pledging, I made my agreements to Jeff and to Andrew just to make it clear. So even it's kind of like when even if you have a no sale, still calling for the coaching call. In the same way, just stick to the word. Even if you didn't call through, they can at least be the bigger man to say that you didn't call through and keep that high communication. I was really annoying Andrew, so I was like, dude, like, I don't want to do this right now. I'm all like, please just get me out of it at this point. He's like, no, come on, you got this. But recognize who you are, recognize your faults, and then just work with them.
Okay, other takeaways from this?
Make permanent decisions in temporary situations if you're in a low energy state.
Okay.
That's the right mindset.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
For me, it was energy and foundation.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
If I'm not going to be an animal at the gym, I'm not going to be an animal at the office.
Okay. I was like, yeah, let's go. The meathead meat is just huge. Yeah.
Where's the hotel?
Come on, you gotta project your voice and speak loud. This thing going on back here, Carlos. Any other last ones? Yeah. By the way, that's a quote from Hal Elrod, the same person that wrote that post. All right, I think we're good for yeah. Okay. All right. You're gonna get some. Yeah. You know last one. Biology. Activate mindful to think of putting it into your body to get energy.
Hey, everyone, can we give a big round of applause for Mr. Andrew Evans? So I just walked in and I had a great conversation. So I'm hearing what, being an animal in the gym, is that what I'm hearing?
Apparently.
Clearly that's the most important thing. Do you even lift? Do you even lift? Sure. Bro, do you even lift, bro? First John Heisman introduced me to that. Okay, before we wrap up with Carlos, I want to talk to you about assignments. So please pull out notebooks, pens, calendars. And I will post real quick districts and branches. Make sure you're paying attention to, so you can promote Carlos, Andrew, Luke. I'm gonna give that to be able to do that. Don't mind the water pressure. So first of all, for next level group, anyone, don't mind the washer. Anyone that's an assistant manager or a branch, raise your hand. Next level call. So we're gonna have our first next level call, not next week, because just so you're aware, I'm working Monday and Tuesday, I'm having final calls. And then Wednesday I'm having a program day, we call it. Then I'm taking personal days and vacation for a little bit with Heidi. So I'll come back the following Wednesday, the 1st. Yeah, the 1st of September. So next level group, mark your calendars. The 1st of September, I will announce the time next week. I'll have some type of a morning call to regroup all the next level members. Okay, so branches, assistants. Usually it'll be, the earliest would be is 8, the latest would be is 10. So I'm thinking at 8:30 to 9:30, and that'll be the first call, and we may change the time and day of that call. So that's just what I'm coming back. Any questions for that? Okay. Everyone's first local prep. So everyone in TLA, your first local 1 hour and a half session, virtual or live, is going to be week of the 21st. So please mark that and talk to your manager about when that's going to be. And remember, the next time we meet as a group, will be September the 4th. And here's what you will be responsible for. So week of the 21st, the first local prep. Week of the 28th will be your first drill for skill matrix points. Remember, there's 1 to 5 points. So we're gonna teach you the pre-screen through video. You're gonna get a video on Monday. I'm gonna give you a script right now. So you're gonna get the district of branch to help distribute. You're gonna get a copy of the script. Your job, your goal, your scoring will be based on how well do you learn that after you learn it next week, and then the week of the 20th at your office, they're going to test you. If you're virtual, we'll test you virtually, and then we're going to post the scores on TLA's website or WhatsApp. This is how you interview someone when they first come into the office. So you're now going to start learning how to run interviews. Isn't that cool? Hi, welcome to the office. My name is Jeff Gambo. I'm one of the assistant managers. You'll learn how to meet and greet. You'll learn how to qualify them for the job. You'll learn how to keep them or not keep them for the interview. So hold on to this. You'll get a digital form on email. You'll get a digital form on email. Okay, real quick. Next level group, raise your hand one more time. Next level group. One of your assignments, next level. One of your assignments for the first monthly prep will be to rewatch the Luke and Andrew video from last summer when they finished #1 and #2 in the nation. They gave tips on how to train. I will send the video to everyone in TLA. So obviously, if you're a smart business person, and you're all going to be smart business people when we're done with you, I would watch it just to check out what the next level group is doing. Just to check out what the next level group is doing. So that's going to be the assignment for the next level group. So here are your assignments. Make sure. Thanks, guys. That actually helps. Does it? First assignment, purchase your planner. And remember, Mike's got plenty of planners available still. Okay? Again, we're not mandating what planner you get, but I highly recommend Mike's. And ready for those of you that are old FC, it's the best planner I've still seen, including the one that I used to promote. But if you have one that you like, if it's not going to be Mike's, I ask that you talk to your manager first. Let us approve it. Okay, so let me give you an idea. For some reason, as long as it has the following, and Mike's has everything. Okay, it should have a monthly and weekly, and it should be 15-minute increments so you can fill in the sand. And it should go from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. roughly, not the ones that go from 9 o'clock to 5 p.m. It doesn't account for your whole day. Questions on the planner? Who already got a planner? Okay, cool. Next level is $1,000 by October 1st, but remember, 2 levels up. So 500 is the minimum for October 1st. I'm sorry, 500 is the minimum for the next deadline. The faster you get to 1,000, here's the, if you want to be on branch pace, 1,000, what the? $1,000 by September 24th will put you in ACE 1 case to earn a branch spot. If you're behind the pace, talk to your manager. If you're ahead of the pace, talk to your manager. We want to keep doing that.
By when?
So if you look at your sheet, that gives you the normal pace. September 24th, $1,000 is the pace we want you to be at. Be prepared for drill for skill. It's going to be week of 8. Actually, it should say 828. I apologize. 828. Drill for skill 820. And I'll send a picture of this on the TLA. First local prep will be the week of 21st. And the last thing, I'm going to send an email on Monday to the entire official and unofficial TLA group. Official and unofficial. So if you're in the room today, several of you did not get a certificate, did not get a t-shirt. That's okay. And we want you to be here and earn your spot late admission. Some of you just need to get to 10,000 and you got it. Some of you need to get to another 10,000 and you got it. Some of you need to work on an agreement. Make sure, raise your hand. Actually, we'll do this. If you did not get in, make sure before you leave this event, you find out what do I need to do specifically. Talk to your manager, and we'll set that up. 20% of our TLA class will be people who didn't earn it last night. Okay? I'm going to send an email to the entire group, even if you didn't get in. That will come Monday or Tuesday. So make sure, districts, please follow up. If you don't get the email, maybe the email we have is incorrect, or you just, for some reason, it's bouncing back. Number 2, we are going to make sure that everyone here in this room who's been on TLA for an interview, who's trying to get into TLA, is on the WhatsApp group. Raise your hand if you're not on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so Andrew, you're going to want to add the TLA Gunner group, and then Luke, add Abby. Anyone else not on our TLA candidate group from SC2? And then districts and branches, we're going to remove anyone that didn't interview today. And we're going to change the name, ready? To official TLA 2017-18. That's pretty cool. Last thing, need all of you to purchase a 2-inch binder with a clear plastic cover where you can insert a title page in the front. Doesn't matter what color, as long as it's 2 inches. Not bigger, not smaller, please. Any questions on the assignments? Okay, and then next level group, your book review. This will be due by September 4th. Your notes debrief on how to be CEO by today's talk. And if you've already run a branch, I want you, and if you've read this book already, I want you to read the book from the standpoint of, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, I really did well with this part, how to be CEO. One of my favorite entry-level, how to carry yourself like a CEO book. And I will post this on the group. Any questions?
How to be CEO?
How to be CEO
Oh, yeah.
by Jeffrey Fox. Recommended to me by Adam Stock in 2001. Yes, sir. Yeah, so Mark's asking any books we should read first. There's a reason I don't give you guys the assignment. A lot. My smart aleck answer, the book you should know is your training manual first, if you're not over 20K Thursday. That's my first answer. Number 2, I would say I wouldn't go beyond any books. I would start with, you're going to follow next level. And then if you get to past that, like we have reps that we really fast and go ahead and make time for that. Or ready? You just text me. Or yeah, I'll give you feedback. And you WhatsApp me now, right? Okay. You know it's a big deal when you're WhatsApping Jeff instead of texting. So then I can do voice. Okay. Our next speaker, I want to bring up Mr. Carlos Cordero. Carlos has a, oh, hold on. So Carlos has a long-standing history of managing offices that absolutely dominate in the fall and spring during school. And the reason being, he's one of the master coaches of how to help students, specifically TLA, stay with their consistency sales or their agreement sales. Raise your hand if you feel like you're going to be the agreement sales. Like set up a time when you know you're going to boost and during the pushes because maybe you're out of area. Okay. And then how many of you feel like you're going to be consistent sales? Small, doing the job, 1 to 2,000. You mess up, you do 500. Either one. But make sure it's either one, not in between. Okay? Not in between. Carlos also has a tradition of developing a ton of people who earn an A-player branch spot, A-squad branch spot. In our division, he's one of the best at deploying. We call that deploying and training people who earn a branch spot. So Carlos is going to talk to you about fall selling, about what you can do to make sure you maximize fall selling, and give you some tips on how to really up your radar with TLA in the major sport. So big round of applause, our Tampa District Manager, Mr. Carlos Fidel. On the podium, sorry. Yeah. Check one. How's everyone doing?
This is my first time. Anyway, I'm excited to speak to you guys today because I was joking with Luke and Andrew. It's like fall selling, man. Like our culture is just doing the job, but in the fall, nothing changes, right? So, the first thing I want to start with is I just think about this season, right? This is our cutco season, the summer. I don't know if some of you have heard that analogy before, some of you haven't heard that analogy before, but this is our season, and I'd say we had a pretty damn good season. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Around the room. And, every sports team, do I really need this, or can, I think they stopped the
it's hard to hear.
Can you hear me, Sean? Okay.
Yeah, it's just awkward.
So every sports team has their season where they go all in. They put all their chips in. It's football. It's like everyone's going in for the Super Bowl. It's baseball. We're going after the World Series. Everyone has that vision. But what's more important than the season is the offseason. That's where they prepare. That's where they go in. That's where all the little things, all the kinks get worked out. And I think about the pilot office in Fort Lauderdale. Last year, worst pilot in the region. Worst to first. What happened? They took the off-season very seriously. It started with the leadership, and it trickled down, and everyone sees what happened with the results. Andrew Evans, he always took the off-season very seriously. The fall and spring, he would grind, he'd work on himself, and he would double his business every single summer. Part of that is investing in yourself, and that's what you've done here today. That's what you've done this summer, and it was really cool last night. I was finally connecting the names with the faces on the group, and I'm like, oh, that's you. Oh, that's you. And it was so funny. The people that sold the most were taking the most notes. Only go figure. It was like the people that weren't taking that many notes. I was like, yeah, so I don't know your name. That's insane, right? You have to invest in yourself, whether that's time, whether that's money, whether that's energy. If you don't invest in yourself, who else will? No one. You have to invest in yourself. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. This is what our TLA product is. If you want to follow this kid, he's out there. Well, this kid's 15 years old. He's already worth like $250,000. He's on his way to being a millionaire before his 18th birthday. Caleb Maddox. He puts out content on YouTube, Instagram, and it'll get you fired up. And some of the content's basic, but it's like, wow, this is coming from a 15-year-old. But he talks, I don't want to be 20 years old and be looking for a job. I want to be 20 years old and providing jobs. Like, that's what we do. That's a product of TLA. That's a product if you take this off-season very seriously. So I'm going to talk to you about 4 things. Talk to you about the mindset going into the fall. I'm going to talk to you about the schedule, because that is some of your fears. It's like, how do I manage this around school and everything that's going on? I'm going to give you some best practices, not just for me, but I reached out to some of the game changers, some of the big hitters in our region, and I'm going to share some of what things that they've told me. And lastly, I'll finish it off with a couple virtual keys, which we're really known for that in our Tallahassee market. So let's talk about the mindset. When I think about mindset, the first thing that comes to my mind is, are you embracing the new challenge? How do you view the fall? Is it like, oh, it's going to be harder? Well, that's exactly the way you should do it. It's going to be tougher? That's exactly what you should do it. You think branch is easy? It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, was branching. So do hard poop, as you've heard so many times. Embrace that. That's how you grow. Just like branching, you're either going to find a way or you're going to find an excuse. The CPO will talk a year from now. And if it's easy, what is it? What do we say? If it's easy, you what?
We don't want it.
Exactly. That's the mindset you have to have. Another thing that comes with mindset is be comfortable being different. You've gotten a taste of that this summer, but you're going to go back to a culture, whether it's in college or your school, where everyone else is just trying to fit in. Everyone else is fighting to be accepted. Everyone else is fighting to maintain their friends. Realize this, it won't matter 5 years from now. It really won't. My friends have made fun of me for selling knives. Like when I go, or they were like, dude, you're just grinding, man. Like, are you ever in town? I lived in Fort Lauderdale as a pilot when I was in college. I lived in Raleigh, when I was in college as a pilot. I branched in Ocala. I'm from Tampa. So my friends did not see me any summers. Like, dude, you got to enjoy your summers, man. Like, you got to enjoy it, bro. Like, I'm like, cool. You guys are still making like 40 grand a year. Some of you guys saw my direct deposit today. And it's like, cool, man. Like half of what I make a year. Cool. Anyway, it won't matter. It really won't. So be comfortable being uncomfortable. Matt King told me, he's like, you can run with the pack. And if you do that, you'll get what the pack gets. Think about like a bunch of wolves. They're like running together. It's like, oh, we killed one gazelle. Be the wolf that's in front of all of them and get your own damn gazelle. Don't share with anybody. It's so important. Be comfortable being different. Embrace that. It's so opposite from our culture. And I think this conference was enough on the mindset. And I think a lot of you have decided, and you want to continue to earn your spot. Branch, and I think success in general is not something that we own. It's something that's rented daily. You rent success every day, and rent's due every day. Every morning from when you wake up to when you go to bed, did you pay your rent for success today? Or was it, oh, it was just like my summer thing? Let's talk about the schedule. So I gave you here's a couple examples, right? Let's say that you went to college or you went to school from 7 a.m. in the morning. We can change that to 5 p.m. Honestly, your college classes aren't like that. You've got like probably 2 to 3 days a week of really intense classes, unless you're in high school. Let's say you're a high school athlete and you're at school till 5 every day. This is how you do 5 to 10 appointments every week. How do you stay consistent? It's really not that hard. You can do a 5:30 demo and a 7:30 demo. You can take a nap after class before you go to your demo if you're about that. Cool. Same thing Tuesday. Wednesday's team meeting night. Thursday, team meeting night or go out with your friends. Friday, get yourself 2 demos. Saturday, hit 4. Sunday, take off. There's 10 slots right there. But that Wednesday, Sunday phone jam is crucial. Maybe it's not 2, maybe it's 1. 1, 1, 1, 3, or 2, right? Here's another example. Game days. Something we had to navigate before the stadium. We sold a crap ton of cut phone game days because I would tell people, like, how much more fun is the tailgate going to be knowing you just made $500 that morning? I mean, how much more fun is your weekend going to be knowing that you did the job that morning? You made 30%, 40% off that sale. So this was the game day schedule. It's like, hey, during the week, crush it. Take game day, you got recovery and homework on Sunday. And then make your calls Sunday night. Take an hour. How long does it really take you to book 5 demos? If you suck at the phones, it takes you 2 to 3 hours. Like, that's if you're really bad. And if you're really bad, exam week. Freshman, oh, the exam week. Come on, man. You can still do 5 demos. 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. There you go. There's your 5. It's more than doable. What I tell my reps is I'm like, you guys watch Netflix for longer than this. You do activities that I don't want to speak of from the podium for longer than this. So stop making excuses. But here's what happens financially. It's pretty exciting. So you might have heard 357. The 357 is true. However, you have to set 5, 7, or 10. Does that make sense? Yes. They don't always happen. And here's the thing. I did the 4. I asked Luke. I was like, I had it at 300. I was like, that's weak. And then I looked it up, and I was like, well, the nation's 330. And then I looked at the divisional average order. Our divisional average order is $400 as a division. And I ask yourself a question right now. Do you know your average order And what is it in comparison to that? And if it's under 400, that's what this fall needs to be about for you. This is a job where you should be making $1,000 a week when you're putting the effort. And if you're not, you should be working your ass off until you're making $1,000 a week. That's it. There's no in between. It's like you're making $1,000 a week or you're grinding until you're making $1,000 a week. You're working on your craft. You're listening to Vector Connect talks. You're working on your demo. You're working with other people on how to perfect it. You're going to field training. But look at what happens if you just kind of suck. I mean, this isn't even exciting. This is not doing the job for interview. I wrote in my notes, like, these are rookie numbers. You can get those up, right? $240 at 30% every single week. $360, close to $500. I did the math. It's a 17-week campaign. Let's say we take out Thanksgiving and we take out Christmas. We've got 15 weeks left. Check this out. When you do $800 a week, you're gonna sell $12,000 for the campaign. That's like another summer. So if you're not excited about your summer results, realize that there's another summer ahead of us. And you're way better now than you were when you first started. The middle column, you do 7. You just set 7 every week and you complete 5. You're gonna sell $18,000 this campaign. And then you set 10, that's an All-American. It takes $23,000 to $24,000 to win an All-American scholarship around school. It's not that much. It's just being consistent. But I think about, what are you gonna do with the money? See, some of you in here don't need it. That's cool, but you're gonna need it someday. And how cool would it be to have your own properties and, have your friends renting from you? Like, oh, my landlord, yeah, that's my landlord. How cool would that be? How cool would it be to buy your first duplex? You get a duplex for like $20,000 down. It's not that crazy amount of money. You do that selling Cutco all the time. Get your own duplex and you live in one side, rent out the other side. And now you're not paying rent, you're gaining equity, you got property. Where are you at by the time you're 21? By the time you're 25? By the time you're 30 compared to all of your other friends? So how do you view money? How do you view income? How do you view selling? That's very important. Write down the dates if you haven't written them down yet. And if you have written them down yet, probably write them down again. Because every time you write them, you become more committed. SLC Push is the only push where we compete against the entire nation. And not just the entire nation, the Canadians are there. They are. They have like these jerseys. Team Canada. Yeah. Listening to them speak is really funny.
You want some knives, dude?
Yeah. It's like they tell stories about how they recruit. And it's like, yeah, we have kids that take snowmobiles to the office. I'm like, wow. So crazy. So what? It's interesting. In Canada, you have to buy your sample kit, by the way. They're not on the free loaner program. They're like just now getting on, like, you guys were like 10 years back, man. It's crazy. Olean push. We're going to tell you about Olean. So Olean, you get to give your sales report in front of the executives, like Jim Stitt, John Welpley. When you got your first paycheck, if you went on direct deposit, John Welpley, this dude that signed it, he's got those, like, I can read what you're thinking glasses. Like, straight up, like, thick boys. You'll know who I'm talking about. So, John, and then here's the thing. One of them will sit at your table. So one year, John Welpley was at our table, and I was like, this guy was sitting right here. I was like, man, how much money do you make? I just asked him. No big deal. It's my first year. So he didn't know who I was yet. So Olean Push. Here's another cool thing about Olean Push. You get to scope out your competition. You're a big fish, and to be honest, it's a decent-sized pond, but it's still small compared to the entire Eastern region. What I look about Olean is that's where I'm like, all right, let's see what all these other branches look like. See what all these other DMs look like. Who's going to be on the number 2 trophy? But it starts with that push effort that you give during that push, during that time. The 26th to the 13th, I'm giving these dates ahead of time because the first week of classes, what does every professor give you the first day? Exactly. So don't be the student that's like, oh, well, what's due? No, you put every single thing that's due for the entire semester in your planner, and how ahead can you get? By the time September 18th comes, it's like, oh yeah, I've already got all the schoolwork and all my homework already done. until the 2nd, and I'm already ahead on my studying for my exams. That's an executive approach. It's funny, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Yeah. And it's funny how the students that train that way, those are the CEOs later. They're forward thinking. I heard a quote, it said, we're paid in direct proportion to how far out we can plan. It's a direct correlation to how far out you know your schedule to how big your income is. Like Jeff, he knows his schedule until next year. Like he could just name out the dates of every single TLA, every single trip he's going on, every single conference call. It's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And then some of you are like, what are we doing tomorrow? Get it together, grouch. Cool. Here's what I'd say about Olean, just to have some perspective, okay? 10K for the Olean push, people will now know your name. 10K for Olean push is where, you know, let's say that's when Brian Hurlman that just took over Virginia goes, hey, might want that guy to go to Richmond, or that girl to go to Richmond. Like 10K for Olean or 15K, like doing 10K plus, that's when you start getting region recognition, not just like division recognition. 5K, okay, you're solid, you did a good job, you actually like put effort in. 3K or bust. Like that's what you got to be thinking. Who knows why 3K or bust? Someone in second level tell me why it's 3K or bust. What do you get when you sell 3K for the Olean push? Say it. Exactly. The person that wins every trip. So in January is your second mini summit, winter break. The company's going to do a trip contest where it's typically 2 weeks. You have to sell like, I don't know, it's like 10 grand or, you know, but there's no school and you automatically win the trip. And they have a PR aspect and stuff, but the kicker is when you sell 3 grand for the Olean push, you get a 2K credit for the January trip. Yeah. So it's like you get to 3K because it makes it way easier for what happens in January. So I'm just telling you, you've got a lot going on, you're off of school, you find a way to get the virtuals in. Let's talk about some best practices. Okay. So I could share mine. That's, you know, not that exciting. So what I did was I reached out to some big hitters in the region and I asked them for some feedback. This is Taylor Max. Who knows Taylor Max? He sold $360,000 in Cutco while being a student. He's won 6 All-American scholarships. I said, hey man, what'd you do? How'd you get started? Because you started in Miami, then you went to school, you know, at FGCU. Like, how'd you get started in that new area? And now he's starting his business in other places. So I would just have a list of like best practices. You're gonna get from 5 different people. I'd write down 3 from every person, and then you can figure out which ones you like the most, okay? Or take a picture of this, I guess, if you want. Number 1, preparation and planning, right? How can I get more leads in this area? Teachers, friends, parents, pink slips. Talk to your manager about that. Customer lists, top reps from that area 2 to 3 years ago. You can ask the manager, hey, who are the top 2 to 3 reps in the area from the last couple of years? And then they can pull up the customer list, and now you can go sharpen all their knives and get started. Which of my customers might know someone in that area? Start asking for X now. Maybe you send an email to all your customers thanking them for your help this summer. Hey, thank you so much for your help this summer. I got the Leadership Academy. I'm moving off to Gainesville. I was curious, who do you know in Gainesville? Who do you know that knows someone in Gainesville? Objection, I don't know anyone. No problem. Who do you know that might know someone in that area? Also a great line for breaking out of bad circles. Third one, start right away. How can you have 8 to 10 appointments your first week of school? It only gets harder. School, the first week is show up and get your syllabus, and that's it. Having 10 appointments and getting 100 fresh leads in your new area the first week, how confident would be you started the semester that way? It's like that? Yeah, it's going to get better. Colt Newburn. Current career sales, how much did you sell through college? I'm at $550,000 in sales, sold $320,000 in Cutco through college. I made 100 G's my first year out of college. It's always a cool stat. So I want to give the value first, so now you get the tips. Sit down with 3 people, any 3. Who cares the age? Just sit down with 3 people, show them, share your goals, show them how badass Cutco is, and say, hey, I really like this town and I want to get started doing this here. Who do you know that I can show? Doesn't matter who the 3 are. Sit down with someone. Know the approach rock solid on how to get into the house, and then pinks, which are, you know, calling past customers. Give me some stats. Started from scratch in 4 different territories using this method. 100K in Savannah, 100K in Pensacola. When I first moved for college, my friends I made locally in Gainesville and Pensacola, I did the training thought jogging exercise for them, and I got leads from them. I had close ratios and average orders. They were average. Okay, so good stuff there. Carly Michaelis. So Carly Michaelis was a Silver Cup district manager. She sold 250K on the summer and winter breaks only. She's from St. Louis. Okay, say what? Sold $250,000 just on the winter breaks. Freshman year, winter break, 11K fast start. Saved $23,000 to pay for all of her college with Cutco. Branch third summer. And she restarted leads because her parents moved to Arkansas. Top 10 branch. She was a pilot. Now she's a DM. So check this out. She actually sold $30,000 in the month of January for the 2-week push. Her parents moved while she was off at college. Her dad is, like he's in sales of some sort, and they moved from St. Louis to Arkansas, like state line. She's like, I've never even been to Arkansas, and she was like, I'm not going to miss the trip, and I need to pay for college. So what do? So got a directory from the school that her brother was attending, even though he hadn't had his first day of school yet. Targeted the neighbors and she went door to door Sunday afternoon. Did the phone approach in person. Scheduled them in person. Did one-on-one with 6K ordered plus 25 referrals. One of those people that she scheduled in person. With referrals, I explained the importance of them being in my situation, so we handcrafted a text to send out. This was the hottest move right here. She befriended a girl that hooked her up with 5 family members right there in the area. So when you're off at school, figure out who's local and just ask them. Justin Ford. So Justin Ford's from the Carolina division. So look at this. He's at $715,000 in career sales now. He's a CSP. He was only at $65,000 before graduating college. I was like, Andy Branch? Yeah, it sucked. He's like, I sucked it up, by the way. It's like that happened for a reason. Just look at what happens. You learn the skills. Hey, brother, here's a couple things. Embrace the fact that it's going to be tough at the beginning. But here's the hot one. Calling and figuring out where the best zip codes are in that town. You can actually go to Google and do an income search of the territory and see what the moneyest zip codes are in every city. And then what you start doing, and this is something you can do right now if you're local, and if you haven't done this yet, holy crap, find out what the best neighborhoods are. Also get involved with a local fair and show team to do small events around your city. Theirs are mainly on the weekends. Find out the top reps in the area that have left the business from previous summers. You can call their customers to sharpen their knives. Listen to every Vector Connected audio talk on getting referrals. This allowed me to build over 1,000 people in Charlotte, starting with 2 service calls. But I got referred to 50 people on each one. I know it's 4, but I hope it helps. Okay, got one more. Take a picture. I've got one more. Tyler Heverly. So Tyler Heverly is at $400,000 in Cutco sales. He moved from Tampa to Lakeland. He went to Florida Southern. Then he went to UF. He moved territories 3 times. So I said, hey, what are some things that you did? Asking for leads ahead of time. When you know you're going to be relocating, start asking for leads on every recommendation sheet. Hey, who do you know is in that area? Duh. Scouting prime real estate leads, right? Like knowing what the best areas are. Take one day to ask around at a local hotspots such as Starbucks and malls. Take a notebook and pen when asking and say you're doing a local survey on what people believe to be the classiest spots in town. Collect that data and name drop those neighborhoods when asking for rents. This kid's a G. Look at this one. Like this is next level. Advertise a free one-time knife sharpening to non-Cutco owners to help with the scholarship. I usually do that on a small local business. Sometimes you run into Cutco owners. And I asked him more about that. And he would just go in there and say, yeah, I do a free mini sharpening. And I just do a presentation. I get paid just to come by. I'm going to do a free mini sharpening for you, for your knives. And he would show them how bad their knives are and sell them Cutco that way. Isn't that freaking savage? He's like, I'm not sure number 3 is frowned upon, but it worked well for me. I'm like, I'm sharing it. Right? So
his average order is $1,100.
Yeah, I'm saying this kid is next level. So here's what I want to do real quick because I know this is a lot of information. I want you to look at the notes that you wrote down, or maybe look at the pictures you just took, and I want you to write down what are going to be your big three. Write down your big three. Whether you're moving to a new territory, some of these things you're like, dang, I could be doing this right now. I'm not moving. What are the big three? Take 10, 15 seconds. Figure out, okay, these are the big three. They could change. You might not know them definitively right now, but what are your big three? And then I'm going to wrap this up with some virtual keys. So I got their big three. All right. Let's talk about virtual keys. I constantly get asked this question. How do I sell in the virtuals? How do I get better at the virtuals? Okay? So if you really pay attention in the next like 10 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to sell from anywhere. Okay? When I moved up to Tallahassee, I'd never done a virtual demo in my entire career. I started selling in 2007. It didn't exist. But my mindset was, we're going to find a way. Or we can find an excuse to make a story. And a lot of you, if you're not getting success in the virtuals, it's because, number one, you haven't done. You've probably done 3. Like, crank out 10, then let's talk. Right? Just like a kid that does 3 demos and goes, selling custom things hard. It's like, you've just done 3. It's the same exact thing on virtual demos. So the first thing is, I want to change your mindset, right? These are the facts. More than 80% of online population, or 80% of the online population, they're buying things, right? Over 50% of the online population is buying more than once. Shoppers by age group. Look at the MAC customers. Like 30 to 60, the biggest age group is shopping online. Why they prefer to shop online? The majority are like, well, it's just time, it saves time. Easy to compare prices, more variety. No crowd. And if you're wondering, like, does the virtual thing work? Do you know who that is? That's Jeff Bezos. He just beat Bill Gates as the richest man on the face of the earth. He's a CEO of Amazon. Oh, no one buys stuff online? Are you kidding me? You guys buy stuff online, you have to try on. You buy stuff online, you have to, like, wear. It's not like they got to wear the knives. It's not like you have to try them on. Let's be honest here. So a lot of it is a story you're telling yourself in your head. Here's the clarity. The virtual demos, they're not as fun, but they're just as effective. That's it. The live demo is way more fun, but the virtual's just as effective. Your customers can see everything we make. And the demo's shorter and faster versus you taking out every single knife, then cleaning them all up, and they have to find a time to clean their house, let you come over. You can book these faster, they're easier. So let's talk about this. This is a common problem. People are like, oh, the demos don't stick. I get less cancellations. Let's talk about this for a second. While you're doing your phone approach, a lot of name dropping with the person that you got referred by during the phone approach. Before the firm up, right? Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. You were actually my one qualifier for me to hit my goal this week. They feel better. They're like, oh, okay. Hey, what you do, put in their calendar. One thing you all have an ability to do with your smartphone is when you put the demo in your planner, create an event in your phone. And when you create an event, there's a spot that says invite, and you put in the customer's email there, and then they now get a reminder before the demo happens. I would do this on my live demos too. So, I mean, I pay a lot of money to have coaching calls with Epic Impact, and before every call, I get a notification 15 minutes before. I get a notification 5 minutes before. That's how true businesses that work on coaching, these guys are in San Francisco. They make sure that I never forget that I have a call because it's technology. So you guys can all do this. So use Google Calendar. Send the email confirmation the day before the demo. Typically what we found is that 20 hours is the hotspot. For the last 2 years, we've sold more virtually than any other office in the entire nation out of Tallahassee. Like the virtual demos what won us our first silver cup. So we found out that 20 hours before is huge. Also, set the reminder to pop up for their calendar the day before and 15 minutes before. So you can set a second reminder there. If you get a no-show call, you call every 10 minutes So if the demo's at 5:30, you call her at 5:30. I hit her with a double tap. I call her one more time at 5:40. I'll call her one more time at 5:50. And I'll call her at 6 o'clock again. I'm like, hey, I guess something came up. I hope you're okay. Every 10 minutes. Because a lot of times what happens is their phone's put away, they missed it, and it's like been 5 minutes, like, oh, I guess, okay. But then they see that, and then they see the call again. 5 minutes later, okay, cool. Okay. Join.me. Who's used Join.me? It's Skype screen share, but without having to download Skype. So you can set it up on your computer, and now you just give your customers a code, and now you can control all the slides that they see. So that way you don't have the whole like, oh, by the time you get the prices, they're like, well, what's this studio +4? It's like, no, come on, right? Something you can say too, if you've ever ran into that, where it's like, oh man, like I just feel like they click all the way through it. I always say this line at the beginning. Once they pull it up, like, Michonne, here's the thing, the website can be really confusing, so please don't look ahead. And for me to get credit, I have to talk you through the presentation. But don't worry, I'm going to give you the fast version. For those who watched last night. The fast version was Michonne's, right? Let's talk about some virtual recs. Actually, before I get to virtual recs, let me talk about some virtual demo, like selling stuff, okay? So number one is you don't have the body language. That's 55% of your communication. So you have to really emphasize your words more than you normally would. So I do all my virtuals, or I see my kids doing the virtuals, and I tell them, hey, put your phone on speaker and stand up when you do it. Because when you stand up, you speak with more energy, and they can hear it, and it sounds better. It sounds more energetic. Because you have to make up for the fact that you don't have your hands there. Also, I like to FaceTime them for the first like 10 minutes or so. A lot of my top kids do that. So if like you're good looking, FaceTime them. If you're ugly, don't. Yeah, exactly. So FaceTime your customers if you want to build some rapport. You know, FaceTime if they have an iPhone or if they have an Android, they might be poor. Just kidding. Right? One of my friends made that joke. They were like, dude, you have an Android? I'm like, no, I'm not poor. I was like, but yeah, get an iPhone if you don't have it. Another thing is on the junk knife page, which that's where all your sales are created. You now have to ask questions to ask like, hey, what kind of knives do you own? Right? Do you have wooden ones? Do you have plastic ones? Oh, you have wood? Go in. Miss Jones, hey, have you ever smelled your wooden handle knife? Smell it. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? So you want to create them, and I always have them take all their knives out. It's just like a normal demo that I'd be doing because I want them to compare as the presentation is going on. You might have heard the be a sports announcer, right? As the videos are playing, no dead space. I like to ask a question on every single slide. The question's simple. Hey, Michelle, what do you see on your screen? What do you see on your screen? Okay, cool. Now click back. Okay, now that's the one. What do you see on your screen? Right. So I always ask a question to keep engagement. So it's not like I'm just sitting here listening to 20 minutes of conversation. Here's a couple virtual recs. Memorize it for confidence and still ask word for word. Thought jogging is very crucial. So expect to get 2 to 3, but then once you get the pen writing, that's when you say, oh, Michelle, so what are you from church? What are people that you know from work? Hey, I remember earlier you said that your kid plays soccer. I'm sure some of those moms would be pretty nice. Remember, I get paid $14.50 just to do this. So who do you know? Your friend Blank, here's something we always say. Hey, your friend Susie, she gave me Miss Mary Ellen. She gave me Josie Smith. So, she also gave me this person. So I start like listing off names. Oh, no. Here's what we do. Here's what we say. Hey, your friend Susie, she gave me 16. Do you know Miss Mary Ellen? Yeah, she gave me 12. And then, so, when you're doing your demo, you're like flipping through the flip 10, flip 10, flip 10. Well, you can't do that when you're doing a virtual. So we just say it. That makes sense? That makes sense? So you're like, yeah, Miss Susie, the person that recommended you, yeah, she gave me 16. This other lady that you might know, I think you know her, yeah, she gave me 12. And just start saying big numbers. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to give you that same amount. There's a virtual rec approach in your manual. If you look at page 19 in your manual, there's a virtual demo rec approach. And then you want to memorize the objection. And they're like, can I just email it to you? So with the virtual, you don't have to memorize the thing because it's there. But you have to have the objection memorized. Hey, Michelle, I'd love it if you sent me a long list. But can I just get these out 5 or 10 real quick? It's super important. It really helps me. It only takes a minute or two. So, hey, who do you know that's nice? And then you can talk about having customers all over the country when you're building a rapport. one of the things I love about my job is that I'm able to meet with people that live all over the area. With me being in school, and you live in Chicago, you're an hour back, so it's pretty cool that I'm able to do this at a different time that's convenient for both of us. Another thing with virtual recs, something I hear common is, well, they like rushing off the phone. Anybody ever hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you do. Before you ask for recs, this is gonna be so simple. You just go, hey, Ms. Jones, do you have 2 more minutes? Yeah. Okay, cool. There's a more very important part. You can really help me out. Go ahead and put me on speaker. Ask for recs. Hey, do you have 2 more minutes? Yes, I do. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's only going to take 2 minutes anyway. So you get the affirmation that they have the time before you ask for the recs. Make sense? Cool. All right. Some of you saw this. This was just one that I had in my computer, but you make a goals PDF and you email that with the confirmation. So now you're like doing your actual real demo. You have the picture of you and your family. They can see all about you, and then you've got your goals there. So your goals section or page that you do on your demo, just make it a PDF and email to your customers. Got it? And you get here's a couple extra tips. The same objections that you do on a live demo, now you have the ability to cheat on the virtual. So you can put them all up. Have a virtual demo station, like a desk where it's like, I've got the husband objection, I've got the I want to think about it, I've got the I'll buy it later, and they're just right there on the wall. 3, we call the manager. When you're closing, you can do them from the office, have the PDF page. Ooh, here's how. Stalk your customers on Facebook before you do the demos. It's the same thing of like looking up their house on Zillow. That's what I used to do all the time. So I'd be like, damn, this lady's house, $4 million, let's go, she's buying a kitchen. So what I would do is I'd find the lady on Facebook and see what she likes and her interests. And as I'm building rapport, I have certain things to kind of talk to her about. Okay? And now you know if she has kids, you can ask about that. Right? It's all on there. Who feels like they've gotten at least a couple tips that is going to help them sell more this fall? Gotcha. I do want to warn you, success rewards implementation, not knowledge though. There's a lot of you here that are going to take these notes, are going to be on a sheet of paper, and you're never going to look at this notebook ever again. It's a lot of you out here. Then there's the few of you, the warriors. Like killers. Exactly. You'll review these notes. You'll say, hey, what are the top 2 to 3 takeaways? And implement. I always like to end with this because we're going to see each other on a monthly basis. But at the end of the day, it's all about what happens next summer. It's how much did you grow or how little did you grow or did you regress? But these next 8 months really play a big role in that. With your income, with your habits, with your circle of influence. And a year from now, we'll really see who is working.
All right? Oh, public speaking do's and don'ts, number 365.5. And he didn't do this, but don't end your message with thank you.
What?
Right? Thank you. That's not a performance. End with an emphatic, and I didn't cover this in the message, I just thought of this. End with an emphatic statement, right? So go branch. Right? So let's rock the fall. It's not thank you. No, hey, I want to say thank you for your time tonight. Let's rock the fall. Thank you is, I just gave a little piano recital. Thank you. Right? You have to be confident. We need to work confident when we speak. So one more time, Mr. Carlos Cordero. We had an outstanding cOC, did we not? Yes? Yes. Okay. Right now, real quick, I want you to wrap your brain around the last 24 hours. I want you to highlight your big 3 takeaways. Write them down real quick. Both days. If you had to narrow it down, hey, I didn't get the chance to go to cOC. What were your big 3 takeaways? Biggest 3. I'm going to share for a bit. We're a bit ahead of time. Okay? And the way we end this, number 1, I want to say, if you are part of the branch manager group on the WhatsApp that I sent for a video, I need you to stick around up to the front. We're going to just record the video here now while we're still dressed up. Okay. Number 2, Number 2, districts and branches. Just one more reminder. You could please facilitate smooth transition, change at the hotel for our reps. Luke, if you could post the pilot address for everybody. Who's been to my office before? So most of you know. So carpool, Uber, however you want to get there. Just to let you know, we are catering lunch for TLA. You have to have been accepted to TLA to attend. Okay? Meaning the t-shirt. I would love it if everyone wore their t-shirt tonight.
I'll do it.
I would love it. Can everyone wear their t-shirt?
Yup.
That'd be cool.
Yes, sir.
And when you wear the t-shirt, okay, listen up. The t-shirt's your entrance to luncheon. Shh. Listen up. Listen up. When you come in, I want to say thanks to Grant Strayer and one of his dad's businesses, as he comes from an entrepreneurial family. They have a sub shop, which is the Las Spadas of Naples, Florida. Okay? It's called Slicers. And I would say it rivals the quality and deliciousness, amazingness of the Spadas, if you're familiar with the Spadas, but it's a different type of sandwich. So we like to give business back to the parents of our students. So we're fully catering from Slicers, and it's going to be awesome sandwiches. After Slicers, we'll go from 1:30 to 3:30. We will have networking available. We're going to do networking questions at the pilot. You're going to meet and greet with the branches. You guys will already be casual, and then we're going to head to Battle Bowling. Luke has already set up the battle part, the Battle Bowling. Yeah, that's all. Where's that? Awesome. And then you're free to go. Real quick. So think about your takeaways. Let me give you 30 seconds, 90 seconds. Find a partner, link up with the partner real quick. Hold hands. I can't be your partner, but I'll hold your hand.